Summon Sign is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 65 of Summon Sign, Last Stand Media's weekly in-depth game discussion podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brad Ellis, and joining me, I got two lovely gentlemen. First of all, we'll start with Mr. Gene Park. Gene, my punching-up co-host, how are you?
Good. I missed last week. Given that I think at this point, it is for certain that Last Stand Media is the video game podcast network that talks the most about colonoscopies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had mine. I had my annual one last week. As a recovering cancer patient, I needed to get one every year. But it was clean bill of health.
Hell yes.
Good. The great news is that I don't have to do that again for another 3 years. Thank God. So,
Yes,
that's good.
That is good.
Yeah, that's great. They're like, we don't need to check that down there for a bit. So you're good now. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I had to get one a few years back just to make sure everything was clear.
Good.
That was going through, and I apparently when I woke up, like I was just cursing my brains out. Like just I was like, because I was still like drugged up, so I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like I was just like,
that's really awesome.
Bad. My mom was like, you were a little embarrassing. I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Like, I wasn't angry. Like I was just like stoned, basically. Like
that's awesome. All right.
I got back out and I was like, how was it, Doc? Like it's really goofy, like how, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
he was like, yeah, you have a clean bill of health. And apparently I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like I was just, like way too jazzed to be there.
That's awesome.
You can imagine when I actually got told I got cancer, but I'm in that mind state. I'm just like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, all good. So let's talk about some video games.
Yes, sir. And you heard him. Mr. Matty Plays also joining us.
Yeah.
Hello, Matty.
Hello. You threw me a curveball when you opened the show introducing us and you said, Mr. Gene Park. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I thought at first I was going first. That was an honor. But good to be here. Excited to talk some games. We have a really good list this week. So I'm pumping in. Happy to be here.
A lot of fun stuff to talk about. Before we start talking about all the games and everything like that, please check us out on patreon.com/laststandmedia if you'd like to support us. That is how we are primarily funded. The lifeblood of this company, I would say, keeping us going. We greatly appreciate it. We have a lot of patrons over there, so we are very thankful for all your support. Thank you guys. Also, leave us a rating or a nice rating if you enjoy the show on your podcast service of choice. What is it? Thumbs up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, whatever the hell the algorithm tells you to say now.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Also, if you want some merch, patreon.com/laststandmedia. I know we had some stand down sweatshirts. I don't know if we do anymore because they go pretty fast. A lot of people like those. But we got Defining Duke shirt. We got Summon Sign. We got stickers. If you want an Xbox sticker with Maddie's face on it, I recommend it. Get it. It's the best sticker we got.
You'll never escape me.
It's the best. It is the best sticker. Your Smug Maddie emote is also the best that we have.
I would love it if someone told me it was a conversation starter. Like you slap it over like your MacBook, the Apple logo. It's just me there in the center. It's like, oh, what's that? Maybe you meet the girl of your dreams. You know?
That handsome fellow on the Xbox logo. Yeah. Yes. All right, guys. We got some warm-up questions, or write-ins, I should say, from the audience before we talk about the games. This is from Jacob. Hello from beautiful Austria Summoners. After all the Gunnar talk the last few weeks, I could not stay silent any longer. I am officially claiming the title of King Gunnar of this Patreon and the world.
Okay.
Not only do I always play the most juicy and cute female if there is a choice, I also fill my RPG parties with as many beautiful women as possible, even if it is the weakest option.
Wow.
I play through really bad games if the protagonist is a waifu with jiggle going on. I have a top 20 list of best physics written down. My girlfriend also almost left me when she first saw me using a character creator. She is Korean.
You got it.
Yeah. She is Korean, so she got over it. A proud connoisseur of the female form in every way. How does your inner Gunnar show himself when gaming. Whoa, okay. Wait, hold on. I'm confused about this. She is Korean, so she got over it. What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right. Well,
I'm not qualified to answer.
Yeah.
She got over it. Hey, Jacob, you can have that title.
The thing about Koreans is that Korean women are usually like good on holding grudges. Like they like shoot like that's the opposite of what I would expect a Korean woman to do. Is that you would be dead by now. You know?
Oh, maybe
she's planning your
Jacob,
murder, bro.
you might be in the doghouse, dude. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful, man. I also saw someone when I got this off our Patreon. Someone else commented saying that I think they were along the lines of the Gooner also.
I can respect
don't know what's going on.
Like top 20 list of best physics.
Yeah, top 20
if true
jiggle physics.
Yeah, if true.
Written down.
Crazy.
Why don't you write them into Defining Duke? Let the boys know.
Yeah, give us your list, man. I'm really like I'll expose you, bro. I'll just like let's read it online. Let's just let everyone know what you think that the best physics are in gaming.
Yeah,
I know Dead or Alive has to be on that list.
Oh, yeah.
Dead or Alive has to be there. So
for sure, yeah. I don't know what's popular anymore. I remember back in the day it was like Oni Chambra and stuff like that. People love that shit. And Dead or Alive, of course, a legendary. But I don't know anymore. But yeah,
Dead or Alive has a switch though now. In Dead or Alive 6, they had a switch to turn it off. So
oh wow, that's weird.
They're pushing back against people like Jacob.
Yeah. Better rise up, Jacob. But yeah, right into the show, let Cog know. Cog will want to know everything, so give him the details. All right. This is from Jared A. Brad and Gene. I wrote in a few weeks back about playing RE6. Thanks for the advice on play order and mindset. I just finished it and wanted to share a few thoughts. Keeping my expectations low made the experience so much better. Honestly, the final boss was the camera angles and QTEs, such painful game design. That said, the gun-fu was surprisingly fun, and playing with a buddy made it a blast. A gummy here and there didn't hurt either. For anyone holding off, give it a shot. Just temper your expectations and play it with a friend. You'll be laughing your ass off. I even grabbed the platinum since it wasn't too bad. Damn. With that, I've now finished every mainline RE game. Bring in RE9. Thanks again, Jared from Utah. Well, way to go, Jared. Yeah, me and Gene were totally like, hey, this game sucks, but you could probably have some fun with it. And it sounds like you did.
That's exactly right. In the right mind state, of course, with gummies and a good buddy, and your expectations lowered, and like this is going to be exactly peak game design. Yeah. Then you're going to have a blast. You know, it's a good ass video game. It's just not like a masterpiece. You know, so
yeah. It's also game. Some campaigns are like way better than others. Like they just made a play style per campaign, right? So like, one of them's like a third person shooter straight up. Leon's is like the closest to attempting to be Resident Evil, but you're like roundhouse kicking everything every 2 seconds, which I guess is very RE4 coded. But I find the game very fun to play. Like if you fire up the mercenary modes, like just the core gameplay of RE6,
that is fun.
Feels good. It's just like when you get to the campaign, it's like they love their QTEs, or like when you're playing as Jake and Sherry, it's like the running away segments constantly.
Yeah. The pursuer boss that they have with Jake and Sherry was so bad. Like not a cool boss that chases you around. And also that campaign goes like all over the world, and then this boss is also like following Jake and Sherry like all over the world. Like just catching flights.
Yeah,
know?
It's pure. It's
to find Jake and Sherry. Shut the fuck up. You know.
The game is long too.
Like we were just in China, motherfucker. What the fuck? You know. Like, what are you doing here in Europe all of a sudden? You know.
Yeah. But yeah, the game is long, like Matt was saying, very long game, especially with the Ada campaign and everything like that.
Yeah, I forgot. It's like a fifth. Yeah.
You get a lot of value out of the game, but
less is more in Resident Evil, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes,
I agree
yes,
with
it
that,
usually is. Yeah, when like the beginning of the game,
like, we'll get into it, but imagine a Resident Evil game the size of an Assassin's Creed. Oh
no.
Like, that makes me want to throw up right now.
Yeah, zombie outposts in the region. Get 100% completion.
Clearing out different police departments, you know, the different districts of the police departments and everything like that.
Oh god!
And then the camera pans out and it goes. You know?
They need to have like a segment where you get high, like every Ubisoft Far Cry game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have Leon like on PCP or some shit running around. That'd be pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. The prerequisite high. I'm tripping out. 2010s level or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right,
Grand Theft
guys.
Auto 5 did it okay.
Yeah. Some games do it better than others. I'll say that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. It is the big game.
Right to it.
That's right, dude. We're going right in. It just came out last week. Kind of a hot topic, I would say.
Kind of.
Seems to be two very vocal camps about it going on. But Assassin's Creed, huge franchise. I have not played it. I personally have no interest in playing it right now. I'm burnt out. I didn't even finish Mirage, but I have played many Assassin's Creed games. Need a break for a little while. A couple more years, probably. But maybe I'll pick it up when it's like $20 or something, or $30. Maybe. But anyways, you two have played it. Yeah, maybe. The Ubisoft way. But you two have played it. Gene, I want to start with you. Talk to me about Assassin's Creed Shadows. What do you think so far?
Yes, I reviewed it. I gave it a 3 out of 4 stars, which is very much, the Gene Park scale version of a 7 out of 10.
Sure.
Very, very safe. I don't hate this game. I think it's a good game. Just I don't think it's anything groundbreaking. I don't think it's great. I played it some more, and my opinion of the game is continuing to drop. The longer you play it, the thing is that like the reason why I gave it a safe score is because I also felt the exact same way about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Where it's like you just want to throw up because there's so much crap going on and there's so much of the same stuff. I'm feeling the same thing where every time you do an Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Huber was talking about this on Easy Allies too. I watched both Matty's review and also Huber talking about it. But
Thank you.
Huber was over at Easy Allies was frustrated by every time he finishes like a segment of the quest board, the assassination board. There's always a new batch of assassinations that pops up. It's like, hey, here's the Godai, and here's the blah blah blah, and it's like here are 8 more people that you need to find clues for and assassinate. And then when you do them, they're very cut and dry assassinations. There's very few of them that are memorable. Like I ran into a guy in a cave, a ninja in a cave. That was like slightly distinctive, but other times it's usually just people just kind of hanging around and you just kind of kill them and you just run off. It does kind of remind me of Assassin's Creed 1 where you just kind of dive in, you kill a guy and then you run out, but you rinse and repeat that so often, like dozens and dozens of times, and it's like this game is not meant to be played in like long stretches in a single like week or so, I think. Because the reason why I ended up loving Assassin's Creed Valhalla is because I would not play it repeatedly. I would play it like once a week or like maybe even like once a month and have that long stretch. And I finished the game in 2 years.
I was going to say, I had to have taken you a while then with Valhalla.
Yeah. I finished the game in 2 years. And in that time, throughout the 2 years, I really, really enjoyed the game, especially the power creep that you get in the game. Once I finished enough of the game to actually get Thor's hammer in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I started running around with Thor's hammer that shoots lightning, and blinds people every time you hit somebody. That was awesome, and I started to have like a lot of fun.
Nice.
I'm not quite there yet in Assassin's Creed Shadows because I can tell that I'm going to have a lot more fun once I unlock the whole skill tree and get like a really good solid level 50 weapon. And I can just start wrecking shop around Japan or whatever, and that'll be really fun. But right now, you're just kind of picking away at a bonsai tree of assassinations, and it's just really, really boring.
I like that. Good description.
And here's the thing, Matty. I watched your review, and I think it really goes to show how astute Matty is as a reviewer of like game design, or I don't know, maybe. I'm just saying, like, I agree with him. That's all, right? But he really nailed it when it comes to like the level design in these missions, right? And just like the level design of Assassin's Creed Shadows in general. Because I want to start by saying Assassin's Creed Shadows is gorgeous. I have not played a game that made me go wow in terms of like the naturalistic look of the world since Red Dead Redemption 2. I think finally this is a game that gives Red Dead Redemption 2 a run for its money, even though that's an old ass game. But I think we all agree that like many people agree that was a peak in terms of like visual presentation, right? Yeah. And I think Assassin's Creed Shadows kind of meets that standard, at least, if not even exceeds it. With the seasons, the seasonal changes, you can see the snow melt, and you can see like the lakes freeze up and then go solid, and it just changes the environment. That's stunning stuff. Japan looks amazing, so that tricks you into thinking that they put a lot of thought into this world. When you actually go into like these different castles to raid them for loot, they're very cut and paste, where you find the legendary chests, because you can just go to the legendary chest right away. And it says you can't open this until you kill 3 samurai daimyo around the area. I'm just like, all right. So then you go around and you assassinate those guys. And then the chest just magically opens up, and then you do that over and over again.
You didn't get an item for it, like an item to unlock it. It's like a magic lock just disappears off it.
I have to headcanon, that like you're getting the keys. Like, you get 3 keys from the samurai daimyo to open a chest or whatever like that. Like that's where my headspace is at. But like that's just what it is. It's just really, really cut and paste game design. And you look at the levels that these castles are in, and there's nothing unique about the castles. They're just rooms and hallways and rooftops and outdoor areas, like just all over the place. And I don't want to say that there's not a lot of work that is put into these areas. Clearly there's a lot of work into them, but there's a difference in terms of, and like I know it's unfair to compare like Elden Ring, to Assassin's Creed Shadows, but okay, so maybe it is unfair to compare Elden Ring to Assassin's Creed Shadows. How about this? How about Mad Max from 2015, right? By Avalanche Studios or whatever, a B-side studio, much smaller. Yet when you run around in Mad Max and you're going to the different places, each place is uniquely tailored. You can feel the storyline that the developer created in each different place, and that's what made Mad Max so unique, even more so than Phantom Pain. So again, I'm not saying that making unique areas that actually have intentional level design is easy. Fucking Zelda couldn't even do it, right? Nintendo couldn't even do it with Breath of the Wild or even Tears of the Kingdom, but Elden Ring did it, and Mad Max did it, right? And those are developers of two different skill types and production level. But they went out of the way to make sure that each area is unique. And that's what separates an Assassin's Creed game, which have been pretty good or okay or mid, or they've all been scoring around 80 or 83 or 75 for several years now. That's the level of difference between an Assassin's Creed game and a really, really special open world game.
Right.
Like Red Dead Redemption 2, which does have really, really unique areas, Yeah. Versus Assassin's Creed Shadows, I can't remember which castle was which, man. I can't remember which assassination mission is which, And I used to have an issue with Assassin's Creed Syndicate and how they would always separate out their assassination missions. That it was never really built into the open world, and I would still prefer that. But at this point, I almost prefer just creating a whole different level that's outside of the world for some of these story missions, because like my god, like everything is just like kind of like dropping away out of my brain as I finish it. It's cool. The movement is awesome. Naoe is awesome. Yasuke fucking sucks. Straight up. I don't like playing as Yasuke.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Like, what's so much more boring about him, I guess?
Yeah, I'm not saying that he sucks as like this is a sucky game, but this is just a mid samurai action game when you can be playing Rise of the Ronin with all of its different builds and everything like that, all of its different movesets.
Or maybe Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know. It's probably the closest equivalent.
Mobility. I mean, it's almost unfair to compare it to Ghost of Tsushima, which has like a laser focus on its combat, and making the combat like a mixture of like stealth and vicious samurai brutality, which Yasuke simply does not have. You know, he only has the samurai brutality part, and you can only be so brutal because this game scales its enemies with you. So no matter how powerful you get, every enemy is only going to be 3 levels lower than you, and if the enemy is 3 levels or at your level or higher, brutal, murderous Yasuke is going to be hitting these peasant samurais for like 5 or 6, 7 times in super combos. Blah, blah, blah. There's just blood going all over the place before he finally does the cool murderous fatality on them, and that's awesome. But how many times did you have to hit that guy before anything, you know?
So I didn't know about this level.
You're parrying and you're like slashing at him and you're just like blah, blah, and it's like, dude, how many times am I gonna hit this guy? And like there's like 5 more guys I have to hit, you know?
But let's back up. Let's go to the level scaling. I didn't know about this. So what's interesting about level scaling is I think it works more in like a Bethesda game because you can kind of just go wherever you want right at the start of the game.
Yep.
In this game, does it very much lead you down like a path on the map or anything like that? Or is it like, hey, kind of just go wherever you want to go?
You can go wherever you want to go, but you are level gated. You walk into a level 35 or 23 area at the start of the game, and you're just going to get ganked, like one-shotted. Like,
so...
One-shot fights. You can't one-shot them, but they can one-shot you. So realistic, you know?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah,
I don't like the sound of that. That sounds bad. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I wonder what Matty thinks about that before we go on. But like, yeah, what do you think about the level scaling? Because I have always had an issue with it in Assassin's Creed games in particular. Dude, like while you're in a castle, you level up, and then everybody in the fucking castle levels up with you.
I didn't know that.
How does that fucking happen? You know, like what? Like I'm in it. I'm taking down the castle. Why are you leveling up? Like does everyone like, ooh, like this powers up too as soon as I power up? Like what is going on, bro?
I didn't know that. That is bad. Yeah, when it comes to the level, I mean, I had a thought after dropping, to be clear for everyone who's wondering, I didn't watch my video. I played 15 hours and I moved on. I can get into that in a second. But when it comes to the level scaling, I did have a thought when I was done, which was like, I think it's time to split the ideas. Like, I don't think the RPG systems work with the assassin part of the gameplay that people like. There's audiences for both. I think Mirage, if it taught Ubisoft anything, was like, hey, there are still millions of people who will buy a more, we'll put in quotes, pure Assassin's Creed experience, like just more about the assassination stuff than anything. That was just a scaled up expansion of Valhalla. I was reading a little bit about Hex, and that's apparently more like linear, even supernatural. So I'm curious how people will like take to that. But I do think the time is coming where they need to kind of split these two, because I will say, when I was getting burnt out on Assassin's Creed come Syndicate, which is now a game I've done a little bit of revisionist history on, because when I went back to Syndicate, I was like, okay, I was burnt out. This game's actually pretty sick. It's not perfect. Like, again, the story is always the bad option in these games, I feel. But I'll also talk about that with Shadows. But I was supporting their change to like more RPG systems. And Origins was the first step of that. A lot of AC peers I've noticed love Origins. I really wasn't super crazy about it. But Odyssey, where I was like, oh, okay, this is historical action series, but this is still really cool. Like, I just love taking it on this like cloaked order. The choice and consequence was there. I thought Cassandra was really charming. I was like, okay, they just need to be like liberated. Valhalla comes around. I thought they built into the Viking mechanics in an interesting enough way where I was very positive on the game. I think I would, if I were to do the review nowadays, I would be scaling it down. But in the moment, I was like, you know what? This is like really good. I like this a lot. It's just, extremely bloated, which was the problem the last two games. So I just feel like there is you look at the sales of those games, there is an audience who likes like RPG-ified Assassin's Creed, and Ubisoft did make it work. But now you've got so many settings in the games. Like, there's a one-shot guaranteed assassination setting, and I'm like, this is Assassin's Creed proper, in my opinion. Like, there's no superhumans in the older ones. I love that it's an option. I will never give Ubisoft shit for letting me tailor my experience to how I want it to be, which was like, bro, that shit was on the moment I found out about it. I was like, yep. Why? Like, I'm not doing the whole forcing me into melee combat because I surprised someone from the bushes, but because they were like 3 levels higher than me, I couldn't take them out. Like, that's not.
They could just tank a knife to the neck. And like,
or they just grab my hand, and I'm like, exactly. And then you're forced to fight. If you're playing as Naue, you're forced to fight the whole fortress. I'm like, what? Like, again, what I like about that one shot assassination is it lets you go into those higher level areas and say, like, you know what? I'm going to get fucked up if I get into melee combat, but I can take this whole place out if I really want to. So I just think again they're trying to accommodate to every audience, and I think there is a way forward where you have like your traditional Assassin's Creed story series, like here's the Animus, here's the setting, this is about assassinations. Like I think really building off what Unity and Syndicate did, and then building off what Shadows does, like here's the RPG, like here is the loot grind, here's the Animus is a live service element now that's gonna rotate stories and gear sets, which I didn't know about really going in, but when I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this series become, dude?
Before you go on, Matty, Brad, the menu screen of this game is basically that Assassin's Creed Animus concept where it'll start with Shadows, but you can see Valhalla on top.
It's like Call of Duty.
It'll go to Odyssey or whatever like that. Okay. So it's like, hey, you're in the Assassin's Creed verse,
Yeah.
Play our other games,
No.
Access them. It's like a launcher, kind of.
Yeah. So
it looks some Call of Duty like. It's scary.
Yeah, it is, and so the level the enemy scaling is just like, I think it's fine. That's a lot of how I felt about the game. My kind of verdict, if you will, if you want to call it that, after my impressions video, is just like, yeah, you've played this before. Like, as in, if you love this sort of thing, and this is like your junk food, I'm not here to judge anyone's taste, because people always give me shit for liking Bethesda Game Studios games of yore, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Like, I love their games, so yeah, when I see a game like I will talk about Atomfall in a little bit, speaks to a lot of my sensibilities, and I'm like, this is awesome. I really like it. So if this speaks to your sensibilities and you're into this type of game, like, I think you'll have fun with Shadows. I just think like Ubisoft got beaten to the punch on everything this game could have offered that felt unique. And again, I've said this a million times, and it'll continue to happen. But like, I feel the problem with these AAA games is they're not realizing that they're not building games to survive scrutiny. They're building games that are good for surface level analysis. But like, people who just took, even your common consumer, just taking like an extra glance at, like, we're seeing AI text to speech conversations in the game. Like, people are scrutinizing the story heavily. Again, this goes back to what I said about Avowed. It's like, well, why is this controversial? It plays fine. It's down to the story and the characters, dude. A lot of what I played in this story, I would say the first like few hours, I was actually like, oh, you know what? I like what they're doing now. I hear this feels personal. This is an Assassin's Creed tale. But once she kind of, they really speed run a lot of her vengeance tale.
They do.
To get Yasuke in. And then when Yasuke gets in, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you two should hate each other. And they don't. They work together immediately after like a 15-minute resolution.
Toxic positivity.
Yeah, and then the story goes from there, and you're like, I'm not interested anymore. And
but you're valid. You're valid. Okay, Yasuke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I just,
your feelings are valid on this.
Wait, do they do stuff like that in this game?
No, pretty much though. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's very cliched. Like it's like you, like, again, I just felt very comfortable about my verdict in the sense of like, you've played this game before. Like, if you've played Origins, if you've played Odyssey, if you played Valhalla, if you played Far Cry, Ubisoft makes a type of game, and that's okay. But like, you have seen everything in this game before. Everything. There was not one thing I saw that was unique to Shadows outside of extinguishing lights. I think that's the main thing that comes to mind. And that's why I say, if it's like a comfort food kind of series for you, that's fine. I think Assassin's Creed should be better than that. I think it should be a kind of,
should be way better than
pinnacle series. It's evolved the industry so many times before. It's responsible for why so much of the industry fell into like checklist open world design, because everyone was like, oh, look what Ubisoft's doing, it's really working for them. The problem is Ubisoft never really moved past that, and so a lot of people have settled, I think, in an area where it's like, well, this is just comfort food for me. I'm like, I think you're coping with like this developer not evolving to the level they can actually be at. And part of it is from them listening almost too closely. They're trying to take in all this feedback, and that's why you get this kind of messy game in Shadows, which is, you could be like the one-shot assassin. You could also like RPG this. You could make choices. You have dual protagonists, just like in Syndicate. They're like,
you can make dialogue choices in the game, but there's also an option where you don't make any dialogue choices in the game. It's like, what kind? Like, are you gonna make a game or not? Why don't you guys make a decision? You know,
right?
And that's, I think this game is a good case study, because there are clearly some AI elements implemented into it, of like the slippery slope that is. A lot of people have been very defensive of like AI usage in game development, but like, you're starting to see like how, just what I kind of worry about is like, well, when you go so broad and you can like address everyone, you actually accomplish nothing. and Assassin's Creed Shadows in its attempt to like cast this extremely wide net and just go across the entire ether and just catch anything within that net missed me completely, because I'm just like, this doesn't have anything to say. I've played this before. Not only just in like, oh, I've played Tsushima, but like I've literally played this Assassin's Creed game before.
Yeah.
I've seen this open world before in other games. This game has nothing to offer me. And so like, I think people know me, but like, just in case, I don't drop games. Like I always finish them, because I especially for me as like a critic, I think like beating things you don't like, as painful as it can be at times, because you know you could be spending your time elsewhere, it informs you so much about what you like, more than playing something you do love.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
perspective,
yeah, it's just great perspective. But this is a game I was just like, no, dude, like I don't need to finish this. Like I'm not gonna go out there and tell people avoid it at all costs, because like I didn't beat it. At the end of the day, I don't feel comfortable doing that. But like from what I played, I was like, dude, I don't need to go any further. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
Here are my thoughts. I paid my dues with Veilguard. I put like 70 hours into a game I fucking did not like at all. I paid my dues a little bit with Avowed, where I was like, I would have dropped that game probably too. Like I don't need to do it with a series where the entry is like every one that I've completed before. If they want me to finish their games, which I happily will, Assassin's Creed should provide something new for me to do. You know?
So kind of what Gene was saying earlier, like everything, it seems like everything just kind of blends together.
Yeah.
And you don't remember one thing, like your whole journey, I guess, just seems like a blur at one point. Matty, so I can imagine you as a fellow Dishonored enthusiast
yes,
playing through this game and being like, there's so much missed potential here, probably in level design, I'm assuming, and creativity with your assassinations. Like when you're going into, I don't know, let's say a castle, are there a lot of interesting ways to get into it or go about getting your target?
No, that's it. You know, one thing I tried to, literally not at all, because I tried to avoid in my impressions video, because I think it's comparisons and describing the things you like and don't like, I think works, and I use it all the time. But I think there's times where you just gotta like boil it down to make sure it's like clearly it's the game's problem, not like, oh, I'm looking at Tsushima and look how much better it is from 5 years ago. Like, you know, but the only time I broke that rule to talk about Shadows and compare it to Tsushima was the level design, because I did go back to Tsushima after I dropped Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I was like, let me just, as always, I like to just check myself. And I was just like going through and replaying some of the open world activities. And I was like, yeah, they do have checklists in Tsushima, but every checklist is different because it's tailored to the unique environments. Like you're sometimes at a farmland. Sometimes you are just at a Mongol camp, just killing dudes. Sometimes you're freeing hostages. Sometimes you're blowing up powder caches aboard a ship, and like
it has Sly Cooper like platforming areas, you know.
Yeah, and so because of that, despite the formula being we're going to make checklists per area, you have locations that feel different. You navigate differently, and that makes all the difference. Because number one, it feels like thought was put into it. 2, it doesn't feel like, it feels like I'm actually in this world because everything's not copy and pasted. 3, it's really good asset usage. Like Gene brought up, I'm glad he brought up Mad Max, because it's like, you know, the best game designers take what they don't go and like back to the art team or whatever and go like, hey, I want to make this level, but like we need new things for it. It's like, no, that's bad. Like you need to take what exists and make something interesting with what is there. And what's interesting about Shadows from like just a conversational perspective is just how they like each castle is just like the same garden, castle, and houses around it,
exactly
copy and pasted, and they don't really you know, the main thing I'll say that kind of exposed it is I was playing in expert mode, which I was happy they included. It was like, hey, when you're on the rooftops they can spot you, so you had to be more careful. What happens though is you realize like the game is balanced for normal, clearly, and so you start to notice, number one, NPCs are fucking everywhere, bro. So like playing in expert mode, I think I want them to keep it, but they need to like actually consider what expert mode is when you load that in, and how many like NPCs are in the area. Cause it just felt like, oh, well, most people are going to be playing on normal mode. So we can just throw all these fuckers everywhere. No one's going to see you.
Peasants and everything like that hanging around castle. They can all spot you and raise alarms, right?
Yeah. So what happens is when you're playing expert mode, the game kind of communicates to you like, oh, you don't want to be on the rooftop because you're visible from all angles and there's enemies everywhere. You have to get down to the ground. Now, Shadows has like prone, like you can go prone. And so you can hide in like sometimes shorter grass, or you can very rarely I was surprised, like crawl under a building. I thought they were going to use the shit out of this because like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
But they don't. And so what happens is like the game kind of defeats itself where it's like, oh, I started realizing, I'm like, oh, this is just like mechanically sound. Like they got all the pieces. Like I can extinguish lights, I can crawl around, but like Ubisoft's game designers and level designers aren't good because they're not using the main tools that could allow this all to flow. Like I used in that 15-hour window, like only a couple of times did I crawl under a building or something. And
you can hang out on the roof on a beam on a rooftop, just like Sam Fisher. How many times did I do that? 0 times, because the level design didn't encourage that at all. You know?
Yeah, because the game is very. I think what happens is there's got to be a term for it, but the whistle assassin combo is something that this game like falls for. Pretty. I think they expect you to use it, like just whistle in the bush. Someone's going to walk over me. And that's what expert mode is. It just whistle in the bush. Here comes guard number 4, stab, put him next to his buddy, whistle again, stab. That's 5 down in the same bush. That worked in like Black Flag, man. Like I didn't care about it then, but we're now in 2025.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
We have to be more thoughtful about stealth gameplay. And yeah, you bringing up Dishonored, like again, that to me, I just would have been straight up brutal to Assassin's Creed Shadows by comparison to that, because I do think Dishonored is like a pure perfect stealth experience, like 1 and 2, Death of the Outsider. Like I think they're just so well done in how many, like, because you could play they're great games because you could play those on the hardest difficulty and they'll be tough, but like you can still get around. And like the challenge should be for the developer to say, like, can you play Assassin's Creed Shadows and never get spotted once? It's like, no, you can't. Like, and so by that, they just start to make concessions and give you a less than stealth experience. And I wouldn't care, but they make stealth such a core component of the game. Like that's all now it can do. Just like all Yasuke can do is fight, and Ubisoft's combat system is ass. So
it sucks.
So it's just again, like that's why I dropped it. I was like, yeah, I literally said on Duke, I was like, I know where this is going. I'll play like 70 hours of this. I'll get really pissed off. I'll tee off. People call me negative. And I was like, you know what? I bow out of this one. 15 hours. I'm not playing this anymore. It's not great. You like this type of stuff? Go play it. I'm good for this one, though. I don't need to participate in this sort of bullshit. So I was good after that.
I knew it was a problem, Matty, when even Locke told me it's not very good.
Locke was like, very excited. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised Locke was excited.
Me too.
I was talking to him. I was like, but because he was just like, this is awful. He's like, he actually pointed out something I was trying to connect the dots on. I'm curious if you agree, Gene, but this game has some moments where it tries to be like Kill Bill. And
yeah, he said that to me.
Yeah, he texted me. He was like, this is a Kill Bill wannabe piece of crap. And I was like, I didn't connect the dots, but there are some moments where they play this fucking wild music. And I'm like, what are they trying to do here? And then Locke said that to me. I was like, oh, they're trying to emulate Kill Bill.
They're trying to have style.
Yeah. I did notice the Tarantino like shots with like how they introduced like the Onryo and stuff when they were like walking up to Naue and her dad. But I was like, okay, I think I see Tarantino in this. But then he made that connection. I was like, oh my God, they're trying to go for Kill Bill, which like, I'm not like a huge Tarantino fan, but Kill Bill is like my favorite series out of anything he's done. I'm just like, oh, I was like, oh, you guys actually tried to fucking do this? I was like, oh, that soured my opinion a little bit. I was like, who do you guys think you are? I was like, you're trying to emulate that with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, that's just conflicting designs, man. Like, I don't know. And I'll just,
it would land better if it was actually one good and two like consistent across the game. Like that shit only happens like every once in a while,
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you haven't really set the tone for this throughout the whole game, and then now you're just doing this because the bad guys show up or whatever.
Yeah.
Or because Yasuke is hyping up his revenge plot or whatever. It's like, I don't know.
It's inconsistent. That's the vibe I got from what I played. It was very, very inconsistent in like what it wanted to be, because again, it was trying to appeal to everybody, and so it just kind of missed the mark on like what it
appeals to no one.
Yeah, exactly. Because it just I know it's a very cliche comment nowadays, but it's true, because it's just you look at the game and it's like you have to have a design intention. Like, what do you want to accomplish with this game? And I think this game only wants to accomplish like play Assassin's Creed in Japan, which again, for a lot of people, is like, that's cool, I'm in. For me, I'm just like, dude, that game came out 5 years ago. There was also Rise of Rome.
You missed the boat on that concept, man.
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
and the thing is that some people find that to be unfair criticism, and I don't think it is. They had years to react to this
Not
and be
unfair at
like,
all.
like,
No.
number one, they could have done this. Number
Yeah.
two, when Ghost of Tsushima did it, then they greenlit it. Then they greenlit Assassin's Creed in Japan. They were like, we'll do it. And I'm like, this is the trend chasing that Ubisoft is so guilty of. And I know people say 2020 hindsight, but after Tsushima, like, I think I say it in my video. Like, when I first played it, I was like, I don't want Assassin's Creed in Japan anymore. Like, this is it. This is what I wanted to be. And Ubisoft's biggest failure in all of this was to recognize it was already done and then to try to do it again, but worse. Because there was nothing new they could bring to the table. You know, they could have even changed the time period, and that would have made it way more interesting because you would have different weapons, different approach to it.
Yeah, look at Project Century over at RGG, you know? They have early 20th century. That's completely unique, you know? Yeah,
exactly. And that's why that game, at least for a lot of people right now, is just like, I'm interested. Like, I want to know what that is because I've not seen that time period. But this is the problem with Ubisoft is they did for a while, and I know people forget it, but like they did for a while set trends. Others followed them. Now they chase them. And this was a moment that chasing them, I think, is going to bite them a little bit, you know? I saw 2 million players in 2 days, which is good. I didn't think the game would like flop commercially. No. Do I think it'll do well for them to not sell off? No.
No.
You know, they need to be like a Cyberpunk 2077 where it's just like, there's definitely undeniable quality here. Even if it's like messy, we'll fix it up. And it ends up selling 30 million copies and CD Projekt Red is like stronger than ever now. You know, that's just not the case here with Shadows. So
yeah, let's talk about trend chasing really quick. One thing that I despise about this franchise is the live service element you guys are talking about. There's dailies in this, I assume.
Yeah,
dailies.
I hate that.
Free.
I know it's free, but it's like it gives you this like MMO feeling of like you got to do your chores kind of for this game.
It's engagement. It's just Facebook engagement. You know, that's what it is. It's
all just filler. Or essentially, it's just fluff to keep you engaged, like you're saying, and so it lacks substance and it's just boring. It has the shop, I assume, where you can buy ridiculous armor,
for sure,
and all that kind of stuff.
The fiery ninja armor and the fiery samurai armor, and then the icy ninja armor.
And like, you probably can't unlock that in the game as well.
No,
and it's just like it's so dumb. Like I remember Gene with Breath of the Wild. That one of my big critiques was to get a lot of the armor sets, you had to have amiibo. And I was like, this sucks. I hate this. But for Tears of the Kingdom, they're like, hey, you can actually get them down below. Whatever it's called in the depths. So I was like, okay, good. You like remedied a lot of that.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Assassin's Creed is just still chasing that kind of bullshit that it really doesn't need and makes the experience worse.
Yeah.
From whatever I heard about this game, it just sounds like everyone's just like, yeah, it's all right, I guess. It's like everyone is like very... Like, if I'm going to put a number on it, it sounds like a 6 to me from everyone.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah. From what I played again.
I want to go back to what Manny said, too, about, this is also in line with the trend chasing, too, right? Like, I tweeted that Assassin's Creed have been trying to copy Witcher 3 for, like, the last, 10 years now at this point, you know? And that brings us to what Matty was kind of alluding to, and what I think is that whatever they're trying to do, you guys are not good at making RPGs. You're just not a good RPG maker. You don't know how to do it. You don't know how to make interesting decisions in your story. So to the point where you even fucking give up on it and you just give the player an option to not even make a decision, right? The decisions in this game don't matter. You know, they don't matter at all. You can say something, and then the other character will be like, "Well, what about this though?" And then the story will just go on and tell you to fuck off anyway. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
The level gating gives the player no sense of real progression. There's no real sense of player progression. As an RPG, you don't have unique environments that tell a story. You know, so. What are you trying to do exactly? You're not even a real RPG. You're just a mid action game with muddied RPG elements in there because you're trying like as we said before, you're just trying to appeal to everybody. You want to appeal to the RPG fans. You want to try to appeal to old school fans of Assassin's Creed. You want to appeal to Legend of Zelda fans. You want to appeal to Call of Duty fans. You know, it's crazy. And it just ends up as a product that doesn't feel special at all, which is sad because this is Assassin's Creed in Japan.
Yeah.
You know,
It was like what people wanted for so long.
This is the one that we wanted ever since part 2, or once we saw Renaissance, and we're like, yo, what if they do one in Japan though?
That's
And
no
then they did
exaggeration.
one.
That's literally where it started. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
didn't know what Assassin's Creed was going to evolve into with the first one, but then the second one takes you to Italy. You're like, oh, imagine if it went to like Japan, like you were playing as like a ninja. It was like so obvious. They're like, well, we're going to do the American Revolution. We're going to let you sail around on a boat. We're going to go to France. We're going to, during the French Revolution, we're going to do, like, they hit everything, but they had so much time. That's the crazy part, is this is a whole different conversation like 2017. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
You know, you could have that moment where like Tsushima is still like really great, but like the main thing Ubisoft's guilty of here is just being incredibly late to something that I still don't know why I mean, many of those games I just mentioned were pretty good. You know, I think Assassin's Creed really started to fall off more so because of its oversaturation, not really because of the quality of the games. Because especially if you go back to them now, you start to realize like all these are pretty good in different ways. Just when you try to play them every year, it's too much. But I really think if Ubisoft just one of those games was Japan, it's a totally different conversation at this point in time. You know, that's the main thing they're guilty of in all of this. Is I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt when I mean, even when I previewed it, I mean, I guess I kind of saw it then, but in reviewing it, I was like, okay, you guys know Tsushima exists. This is something you got to walk around. Like, you got to do different things. Like, oh no, you just tried to like be them and with less, and that can only go one way. Like, in my opinion, it's like that just is like a failure unto itself. Like, why would you try this then?
That's the most frustrating thing about playing as Yasuke. It's like this is just a samurai with less abilities than any samurai video game samurai out there, basically, right? He has no mobility. Also, back to the cut and paste thing, you know, like this game also does have like hidden temples or dungeons or tombs or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, and that was cool, like in Assassin's Creed 2, and to get those unique items. But those were like unique platforming challenges, whereas in here, like they're not like you go into a tomb and it's like, oh, here's a block pushing puzzle, you know, like. And here's walls that you can blow up with some explosive barrels or whatever. You know, it's like the most unimaginative video game shit ever. There's no attempt to like tell a story within the tomb. You know, there's no attempt to tell the story between about, you know, what might be hidden in the tomb. You know, oh my god, like what's behind this wall? You know, what could have been buried here? You know, there is no attempt to do any of that. You just go in. You see a bunch of block puzzles, move shit around, figure it out. Yasuke can't fucking climb anything, so he has to literally be moving puzzles around to create like fucking staircases for him to move around. And it's like, man, this sucks. This is just really, really crappy, like early 2010s like Western video game like game design that's still here, you know. That's so slow. Yasuke's like special moves don't do anything interesting. You know, and Naoi's combat sucks too. To be quite honest, you know, it's just like Manny says, the combat just overall sucks. Period. You know, there's just nothing unique about it. You're parrying, you're blocking, right? you're rolling around, you're hitting. You know, there's nothing exciting about it. You get a couple special moves that don't really do much.
Does it feel good at least when you like clash blades or kill someone?
No,
it kind of design in particular is kind of soft, so it doesn't feel as good as I think it could.
Yeah,
but
like the stealth, the brutal kills are just feel pretty good when you land them, you know. But that's after like a 5-hit combo or whatever, you know.
They're very brutal, yeah. Like the game is very bloody. Where I think that's when it feels good is like you'll just rinse the floor with like your enemy's body parts and stuff, which is cool. Maybe not body parts. That's more like Ninja Gaiden, but you know, you'll see a lot of blood on the ground and like. They're dead when you kill them, you know. So there is that. Yasuke has a couple cool finishing animations, like he'll like stab them in the gut and like literally lift them up, and then like throw their whole body off his blade, and that sort of stuff is nice, you know. Again, not everything here is like awful, just extremely familiar to the point of not being appealing to me.
Yeah. Let's see here.
But yeah, that's why like I'm playing Rise of the Ronin, even, which is a game that nobody paid attention to, and
I played some of it when it came out.
Yeah, but I was like, this is so much more interesting. Like, there's different moves. You know, I'm already getting
Fly
different
around on the
builds.
glider.
Yeah, you can fucking fly around a fucking glider. You know, like
You
why
get
didn't
guns.
why can't Naoi be a kite ninja? You know, and just fly around the goddamn map. Maybe there is. Maybe I haven't unlocked the kite ninja thing yet. But I feel like I would have seen that by now.
Did you
But
think
yeah, that
no, I mean, interrupt you. Sorry, but did you think the parkour was utilized as much as it should have been? Because that was,
no,
yeah, I was gonna say,
no.
I was like really confused because they were hyping up the free running, and the animations are nice and it is smooth. Like when you jump off a building, like now it'll do like a little flip. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. But
Mhm.
it's number one, slower. But two, I just didn't free run in the game. And I'm like, this is Assassin's Creed. But I'm now like, this is what people kind of feared with Valhalla. But then there was like climbing trees and there was like cities that you would, yeah, I'd actually free run within. But like in
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, you're always on horseback and then, climbing a couple walls. But there's no like, in Unity to me, like the peak of obviously free running, like there's a lot of like you're jumping through
Right.
windows
Yeah.
up, down. But even before that, obviously, we know like free running was such a big part of the navigation in these games. And that's the part where I'm like, maybe you need to make a linear, more OG style Assassin's Creed series because I get why it's not like this. These worlds are so big that you need the horseback or you need another method of transportation. The buildings are getting taller. So kind of like how you had the rope launcher in Syndicate, like you've got the grapple hook and like that didn't feel as utilized. It's like only when a tree is just hanging between two buildings. So I just want to make sure I wasn't alone on that because that was the other disappointing part of me is I'm like, yeah, this free running looks really good. And free running in Assassin's Creed always feels pretty decent. Like I just don't use it in this game. It's just to climb a wall, overlook my surroundings, and I literally jump down to like a bush.
I think it goes back to the level design aspect where it's like you guys really didn't create interesting scenarios. Like, yeah, you put a tree here and there with some yellow pads or whatever like that, so we can run across the tree to the roof or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's not that's okay, I guess. But it's not that interesting though, you know. And then you do that you do that with every castle or you do that with every town. Yeah, there's just not a lot of interesting ways to use the interesting movement. The animation is beautiful. This game is animated beautifully, actually. Everything about the presentation, I think, with Assassin's Creed Shadows is not the weak point at all. The production level, they definitely cooked here, I think.
Yeah. It's good for marketing. I would put
how's the voice acting?
I think the surface. Oh, voice acting. Holy
shit.
The
voice acting sucks, dude.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah,
the English voice acting is so fucking bad, bro.
It's really, really bad. The English voice acting, especially. So the Japanese dub, that there is no lip sync to the Japanese dub. So you're just gonna get the opposite effect of like the Chinese movies, basically. But the English. So I played an English dub, which is fine. Like you're an animus, like the animus is translating to everybody, right?
Sure.
The weird thing though is that like it sounds like they hired every single NPC or every single voice sounds like a real Japanese person, but a Japanese person who knows how to speak English and doesn't know how to act. You know?
Yeah.
Basically, like my sister was in town and she was staying with me, and I was playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and she plays games. She plays a ton of games, right? And she loves like JRPGs and Final Fantasy. And she was hearing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and she was like, "Why is the voice acting in this game so bad?" Like, because she was just hearing like, "Yeah, now wait, you have to do this or you have to do that." It's very, very stiff, very, very stiff.
Damn.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Yasuke's voice acting is fine, and Naoi's voice acting is fine. And then the production level, the acting of the production, like the facial animations, are really, really good. Like they definitely stepped up the production in terms of like the cutscenes and everything like that. The hair looks great. Naoi's hair looks amazing. But the voice acting will take you out fairly often.
Yeah, dude. Just
Matty's got nothing to add.
Yeah, no, it's just sad because it's like we're like you got to give the game compliments. You almost have to think about them like they're not a AAA developer. Like we were talking about like I don't know, indie team or something like that.
Yeah,
like
AA game,
and then AA game. Then we start to give these types of compliments out. We're like, yeah, they actually had great motion capture. But like with Ubisoft, it's like
Yeah, it's like we're talking about Expedition 33 or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Ubisoft, it's like, this is like, you guys got so much money.
Yeah,
Or
you've
you
like
did,
1,000 people
like
working on this game.
Yeah, you have so many people working on it. Like, by sheer manpower alone, I feel like their games should be way better than anyone else's. But also, it should be proved to the rest of the industry that just like the development teams need to be smaller. Because you can just you just literally look at the credits of the game and go like, wow, that did not look like a game made by like 8,000 people outside of the environments in the open world. That's where you could really feel the manpower.
That's where the money and manpower went to for sure.
Yeah,
and the animations as well.
And then they had like one game designer.
Yeah, a guy with like one idea, which is split the fucking cool ninja samurai powers into two characters and just make both characters worse for it, basically.
Yeah.
I keep saying this over and over again, but I wish you can just fucking switch classes as the characters, man. Like, imagine how much more fun the game would be if now this tiny little Japanese girl could fucking run through walls and just like brutalize people like as a crazy lady samurai, and she's just screaming like, ah, and she's fucking bloodying people up. That'd be awesome. And then Yasuke is just hiding in the corners and like slinking through the shadows. That'd be sick. And it would just solve the issue of having two characters, which again, I guess is basically just Eivor over again, right? You're just gender swapping an assassin character. But
they did that.
If you're going to have two different characters, you should have made them both interesting as opposed to both worse than if they would have just been one character. Yeah,
they did that with Odyssey as well. There was Cassandra and
Alexios, but they were the same character,
Yeah.
I didn't really like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but like this game is making me want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey now, because it's like, if I'm going to have to deal with level gating, then I would rather play a game that, I don't know, was kind of more fun. Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey has way more fun moves,
Damn.
Because it's here's what makes Assassin's Creed games special. Here's why they still sell so well, and here's why I'm still a fan of them, and I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed games. I don't think that's been established yet. I am the reason why they kept making a game every year, because I keep buying them every year, and I love them, But here's why Assassin's Creed games are so special, because in no other open world video game can you move like an assassin can, outside of superhero games, outside of like Spider-Man or even Batman, you can't climb the walls as Nico Bellic in Grand Theft Auto. You can't be John Marston and just diving off of buildings and parachuting off shit or whatever. But you can in Assassin's Creed, and Assassin's Creed is really the only big game that does that. But which makes it even so much more doubly disappointing that they're not doing anything special with the formula. They just keep adding to the formula as opposed to making it special or unique. They're just adding more shit on top of it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Got a write in from Philippe. Hey guys, I'm an IT architect and recently had an opportunity to be part of a team that designed and implemented custom AI clusters for various customers. And it got me thinking, there's a lot of AI slop on various video game storefronts, but those are inconsequential. But what do you think an AI slop video game looks like once AAA money is put towards it? For me, it's the new look of Assassin's Creed starting from Origins. Everything there ranges from below average to above average. Nothing is truly great or exceptional, but rarely is there anything bad. There are a lot of features there, but none of them come from some kind of direction or vision. It's all market researched, focus tested, and improved by a community. Yeah. I think this is more or less a well-trained AI would design, or I think this is more or less what a well-trained AI would design. Thoughts? This kind of sounds like what you guys are saying.
That's what I've always complained about now. It's like we're not creating art because somebody is passionate about a perspective or a view or a vision, right? We're creating art out of data sets. We just keep looking at data and numbers, and we're like, okay, well, the data goes to this, so we should go to that. It's like we're creating games like we're trying to post on Facebook, like a Facebook ad. Oh, what kind of market is this, or what kind of market is that? That's what Assassin's Creed is. It's the Facebook ad of video games now.
Yeah, if I were to pull a random comparison, I'm only pulling it because it was something that was just top of mind from I spent like all of last night watching White Lotus. Like, I love this show. And Mike White, the writer and creator of it, the new season is set in Thailand. And he wrote the whole story while he was in Thailand. And to put kind of White Lotus in a nutshell, it's like stories about people you kind of see in your day-to-day life. And
I need to watch that show.
I love it. Yeah. It's just really great character building. And they're all very human, right? There's nothing like supernatural or anything about it. It's just very grounded in a interesting way. Also hilarious. But they kind of take these stereotypes, these slices of life, and kind of get into the nuances of what makes them those stereotypes, and then puts them in like fucked situations. And it's just, it's really good. But to my point is that this guy writes his seasons clearly because he has something to say about types. And by the way, to be clear, all types of people. And so he immerses himself in that culture, in that lifestyle while he writes that story because he has something to say. I think the reason these games are struggling, and for some are, we see here the term AI slop is being used on Assassin's Creed Shadows, is because, again, when I think the narrative decides everything. It decides your artistic vision. It decides your gameplay elements, like what can and can't you do, because it determines that setting. And when that's not taken seriously, and there's nothing that a writer has there to say that's interesting, you're left with what Assassin's Creed Shadows feels like. Like, part of the thing that I didn't talk about with AC Shadows, with its story and how it feels like it's something you've seen before. I mean, it is the stereotypical revenge tale. Like, I'm going to kill you. How dare you wrong me? She's about to get her revenge. No, you're going to turn out just like them. No. And then she stops herself, and now her cause is true. Now she knows what she really needs to do. She almost became the villain. Like, every beat of that story in the 15 hours I played, I was like, I cannot believe that people are paid to do this. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Ubisoft's ghostwriter tool. That's the problem, is I can't tell the difference right now, because it is, I guess, just fine. And many people have given me shit because I can't just enjoy Fine nowadays. But can't you see the problem with Fine when it's something like this? It's like no one in that story had anything interesting to say. And comparing that to, I know it's a TV show, but I got a million games if you need them. But like, I can tell in that show, this guy had something to say.
Yeah.
And he does it in funny ways. He does it in thought-provoking ways. And I love it. I'm like, yeah, this is a guy who's clearly passionate about telling stories about types of people and getting a message across. And he does so in a way that's massively popular, very interesting, very compelling. It's like one of the few, I haven't felt this way since like Walking Dead, where like week to week, I'm like, by the way, I'm talking like Walking Dead seasons 1 through 4, where I'm like just on the edge of my seat, like, man, I can't wait to watch this show next week. I haven't had that in forever. So I hold it in pretty high regard. But again, it comes down to having something to say. And it's not just the story, but like the setting feeds off the story. The gameplay feeds off the story. Like, all of these things can have things to say. But that's why I think people are using the term AI slop, because it's also possible this is all handcrafted, but because it started off with like a market response, like probably, again, Ubisoft chasing trends went, oh, Ghost of Tsushima sold really well. People want this. Hey, we have a historical series. Why don't we do it? And that is, I don't even have to be a fly on the wall in that boardroom to know that's how it probably went. You know,
it's just the most brain dead logic. That's all it is.
And it's, I'm sorry, I know people think it's like just sipping that haterade for Ubisoft, but like I wouldn't say I was a diehard Assassin's Creed fan. I always loved the series, but like I loved Ubisoft games for sure growing up. They were just like easy pickups, because I was just like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be great time spent. And they were one of the few companies that when I was growing up and I didn't have much money, it was like a level of, they're gonna respect my time and I'm gonna get my money's worth out of this game. That was super important for me too. Like when I bought a game, it's like, oh, I know Ubisoft's gonna give me a good time, a fun story, interesting setting, checklist, and I'm going to spend like 80 hours here. And that 80 hours meant a lot when you were like in high school. So yeah, I just think ultimately they just need better direction, but that's hard to do when you have, 1,000 people on a game. How do you, I have a team of 10, dude, and it's sometimes tough to get down that chain and just get to like make sure the message is received all the way to I put this in quotes, the bottom. That's tough. And now you're telling me they got to go down a chain of 1,000. It's like, I get it. It's almost like it should be smaller.
Exactly.
So I'm not advocating for firing people, but if people want these games to have more focus, be more art, I think that's what you need. You're gonna need a smaller team that can actually communicate ideas with one another.
I mean, talking about a TV show, Severance just ended. Matty, you would love Severance if you don't watch it.
I want to check it out. Yeah, that's on my list.
Really easy watch, and there's only 2 seasons so far. But Severance was written because the writer was working at a door factory, you know. He really wanted to talk, and he really had something to say about that experience of working at a door factory, working at a job where he has like absolutely zero passion or connection to the industry whatsoever. That's what art is. You talk about your human experience, and when you play a game like any Assassin's Creed, I guess maybe since Origins or whatever, Origins felt a little bit special, but like any Assassin's Creed, they all feel like they don't feel like they're in it because we have to make another one. We have to make another Assassin's Creed.
It's the business.
So where's the next one going to take place? Okay, well, we're going to do this one, and then how are we going to fit this, and what kind of historical figures we're going to do that. So I've gone a little, I haven't completely beaten the story of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I'm far enough at the end where I feel like I know exactly where the story is going and where everything is going. I think the story fucking sucks, actually. I thought it was interesting at first. I was like, oh, Yasuke is here for a reason. What is Yasuke here for? The reason sucks. Oh, what exactly are the assassins doing here in Japan? It's not that interesting. They're just here in Japan. And then you end up meeting more interesting historical figures, and you're like, God damn it! Like, why isn't this character like more central to the story, or actual the main character? If we're going to use historical figures, I don't want to spoil it, but you can kind of figure out which figures might come up if your Japanese.
If you've played Samurai Warriors, huh? As if you've played Samurai Warriors.
If you play Samurai Warriors, then you would know exactly who might show up, and you're just like, God damn it! Why isn't the game about this dude? For Christ's sake.
Yeah. Jeez.
But then, yeah, like that's the thing. Like people make fun of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but that actually had some really, really interesting things to say about history and mythology. And this game
choices were
not.
fucked up. There was that one something about like giving someone wings, and I was just like, that shit was fucked up. I thought.
Yeah,
there's some interesting parts in that game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas in Shadows, it doesn't really do anything that interesting. It's very much focused on like the Japanese honor and the ninja clans and everything like that. And it's like, this is so boring. And it's so.
Yeah. I love me a good Japanese setting. Look.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like I'm an easy target for this. So
yeah, and this is probably the most beautiful like not even ancient Japan, but old Japan has looked ever. I think I think this is probably the most beautiful Japanese game ever, or game that takes place in Japan. But such a waste of story and characters and gameplay design. And again, I'm saying all of this as an Assassin's Creed fan, and I'm enjoying the game kind of, but there's really just nothing special about it, especially after spending 200 hours playing Valhalla, which I enjoyed. And it's like, okay, you can't do that again though. And then they kind of do that again, except just like not as big, but it's like you still did it again though. It's still the same formula of you just gotta assassinate all these cut and paste missions and everything, and that we're gonna give very little attempt to make these places feel special or unique, or I don't know. It's so disappointing. So.
Let's see here. Flint Dibble and the Dibble Singers wrote in. Hey, Sump Pumps. VG 24/7 gave Assassin's Creed Shadows 100 and gave Ghost of Tsushima a 60. And what world can you tell me this review wasn't bought and paid for? Well, Flint, I just assume they're different reviewers that reviewed these games.
I'll find out right now. Continue.
Yeah, go find out. I assume that is the case too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a wild take to have from what I've heard about the game. I have not played it, but just what I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
But I don't know, bought and paid for. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't say bought and paid for. I mean, the Ubisoft sponsorships are bought and paid for,
Yeah,
like Hassan Piker plays Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, that's true.
For some reason. That's bought and paid for, So when they're saying that they're bought and paid for, then they're bought and paid for. But, as wild as that review gap is, I'm going to have to respect other people's opinions, and I'm going to have to, push back on, as long as it's a news site, it'd be a scandal if it was bought and paid for, and they shouldn't be working. But I'm 100% doubt that that's the case.
Yeah.
Two different reviewers.
Yeah, I don't think it's bought and paid for.
There you go.
as someone who worked at
now
like game trailers and stuff
I will,
like that.
just to be
honest,
clear, took a quick scroll on their website here in 2025. They do a 5 out of 5 star review system. They gave Dynasty Warriors Origin. I'm sorry, if we want to go back just a month before that, Indiana Jones, Dynasty Warrior Origins, Citizen Sleeper 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Avowed, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, Monster Hunter Wilds, Split Fiction, and Assassin's Creed Shadows. All 5 out of 5 scores.
Whoa, really?
All of them? Wow.
All of those. So,
wow. Okay, well, there you go.
with all due respect, my suggestion would be don't take the review seriously. They're just, I think two of those games maybe can qualify.
That's wild. And people accuse me of liking games too much and reviewing Doom too highly. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I have not given. I've only given one game a 4-star review so far this year, and it's Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Like I'll say this just to be very like upfront with Flint Dibble. Like the kind of paid for review argument is like very think deeper than that, dude. Like.
Yeah.
If you get paid for something, as someone who's been paid to do like, hey, the way paid videos work nowadays is like they buy a slot on your channel. Like I'm producing videos constantly and they're not coming. Like if you watch any of my recent sponsored videos, like I've shit on games for money because they're just like, we want to have a slot on your channel. We just want you to like talk about the game and just create awareness for it. It's like, okay, doesn't mean I'm going to like it. But it's like, I'll talk about your game. Sure. You'll know That's when cool. People are paid for it. Cause like legally you have to say like, this is a sponsored video. Like you cannot hide that. So if a review is bought and paid for, these companies would be like subject to actual like legal problems if they hid this. And what you need to start thinking about is that not all reviewers are created equally. I'm not saying I'm the best reviewer by any means. I have a lot to learn still, but like there are people who are bad at reviewing games. That's it. Like some people are just not good critics. And when you're like forking out 5 out of 5s, like that's not a really good representation of your site. Like people can make fun of IGN all the time, all they want. When they give out a 10 out of 10, it turns heads because it's like, oh shit, they gave a 10. Like,
right.
It's a good sign. That's a good sign when your site can do that. When your site's giving 5 out of 5s constantly and people are like, oh, it's a 5 out of 5 for VGC. It to me, it devalues what OpenCritic and Metacritic serve to do because you're just like curving the score hardcore because you've given it a very strong grading. And the other thing you need to consider with something like AC Shadows is I think there are companies like BioWare got a bump. I think Ubisoft got a bump with Shadows that like there are reviewers who I think you can't disrespect the conscience of being like, they're aware of the position these companies are in and are going to try to protect them. I can respect people trying to be good to other people and know that job losses will happen if like this game doesn't perform. For me, I think my take would be the job that you're supposed to do is just give the person choosing to consume your work the best information they can possibly get on the game and whether or not they should spend their money. Like your concern isn't with these corporations, but that's the vibe I got, especially with Dragon Age of Veilguard. I think a lot of companies protected BioWare there, which I understand. I just don't think it's the right thing to do in our position at the end of the day. It's tough, but the right thing to do is tell the truth. So they might think these games are all 5 out of 5, but I just
it's just someone's opinion, but
I just want to say, ultimately, I apologize for my ramble there, but just Flint and anyone else who thinks that it's always deeper than bought and paid for. I've never heard of a bought and paid for review. I'm sure it's happened.
No,
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know if that happened in earlier days, but when I was working in the industry, no.
Yeah, I've never had, and I've reviewed games like before my reviews even blew up. Like I've never had anyone approach me and be like, "Can you give us a positive review? We'll pay you." Never happened.
Oh, VG 24/7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm looking at all the 5 stars right here. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, teach their own, I guess. But that's why it's great. There's so many reviews.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reviews out there.
Exactly.
So find the voice that resonates with you the most.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the good thing about reviews that I think a lot of people don't realize is they want validation from specific individuals. And it's like, there's just a lot of scores out there, dude. Like
there's a lot.
Because people like, I was listening to Jake Baldino say this, and it was such a good point. He was like saying in his video that like, I think he also said on the FPS podcast, but he was like, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I love Jake. Like he'll never steer me wrong. And he's like, there's a time I will. And he's like, that's why you watch multiple reviews. And it's like, it's so true, dude. It's like, things work for us that may not work for you. It's not us trying to be blameless in the situation, but like putting everything on, including myself, any single reviewer is a horrible choice. It's like, we're good at what we do. We try our best, but putting everything on Gene or putting everything on me or putting everything on Jake or Skill Up, Like, you got to take in multiple opinions for this exact reason. It's like, yeah, I don't think Assassin's Creed Shadows is anywhere close to 100 out of 100 or 5 out of 5. It's just not. But that's my take versus theirs.
Yep.
You got to take in those different things, consider, and then make your purchase or not from there.
Man, my 7 or so years when I was reviewing games, I never gave a game a 10. And I wish I did. I was close. Sekiro, I was very close.
Oh, what pushed you away from that? I feel like that would have been a good one.
Just some of the repetition of like enemies and boss encounters. Like you fight the same boss like 3 times, or the mini bosses. I'm like,
I love that.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
but now retroactively,
like
I should have given it. I should have given it a 10 when I really think about it now.
Sure.
But at the time, I was just like, I don't know. In Elden Ring, I was close to giving it a 10 also, but I reviewed it on PC, and the PC performance for me was not good.
FromSoft missing that Brad Ellis 10 twice. They got to clean it up, bro.
Dude. They were close, man. Come on. If Elden Ring ran a little bit better, I would have given it a 10. That was close. All right. Matty, let's talk about Atomfall. You brought this up a little bit earlier. Yeah. I'm curious about this game. I've heard a little buzz about it.
Yeah, man. I love this game. I really do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was very happy when playing it because I think it borrows enough ideas visually from games that you may know, like Fallout or Stalker. It's first person. It's set in the 1960s after the wind scale event, which was like a real thing that happened in the 1950s. Basically, it was like a nuclear disaster in Britain. But what happened in response in this alternate history take is they created a quarantine zone around it. So people are stuck within this quarantine zone, and you're trying to get to the bottom of what exactly happened here. And that's kind of all I'll try to give on the story, simply because the main mechanic that I think makes this game distinct is its narrative. So as you are exploring this world, you're going to find readables like notes. You're going to talk to people, and it's going to build your lead list. Like, you're basically a detective. Like, that's really, like, that's not who you are truly, but that's how you're basically acting. And as you're exploring this world, these leads will pick up. They'll kind of filter into one another. It's a very non-linear game. You can shoot anyone in the face if you want to, literally anybody. You can end any lead whenever you want. You can pick up any lead wherever you want. They end in multiple ways. You have multiple choices. Just a lot of agency. But you'll pretty much navigate this world trying to, number one, escape, and number two, get to the bottom of what exactly happened here. It's really tight, like under 20-hour experience. And I think it's just the right amount of meat on the bones. It's got enough unique ideas narratively, and the gameplay is really solid outside of the combat AI, where when I wrapped it up, I was like, that was great. Like, I was like, that was really good. It felt, again, distinct narratively, because like maybe some of it you might have seen before. It might seem a little familiar if you're like a big Fallout fan in some regards, but I think beyond that, just it's the way you approach it, and that honestly New Vegas level, like, okay, bang, don't care what you have to say, and just moving on, and the game being able to kind of roll with that, really impressive. I did not expect Rebellion, who I think is a great developer, by the way. They do the Sniper Elite games. I did not expect them.
Oh, it's them. Okay.
Yeah. So I did not expect them to. They have a comfort food series, and like I didn't expect them to go really beyond the bounds of that. And I think for a first entry and sort of what they're trying here, definitely like a great framework that I hope this started off as a tech project, but I hope they build into a franchise, because I really do think this could be big in like an entry or two if they like,
refine it a little more.
Yeah, they got to fine tune some things I can get into, but everything's very sound in this game, very solid. I could see it being in my top 10 by the end of the year. Really, I don't know if top 5, good. But I think like a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is still better. But if you're looking for almost like a similar level of agency and quest design with no waypoints or anything like that, and just navigating the world based on like your eyes and setting, like, what, for example, some readables you'll get will have coordinates, and you'll actually like narrow down the longitude and latitude on the map, and then make your own waypoint and be like, I think it's around here, but nothing on your map is marked until you get there. It's easy to get distracted, but that's kind of like how you get around this world. So very Elden Ring, if you will, like no hand holding. Very free experience, very open, lots of player agency. And because of it, like I said, like, I could see it in my top 10 at the end of the year. I thought it was really a strong game. And it's also on Game Pass. So what I'm saying is, this appeals to anyone, PC, Xbox, Game Pass, whatever. You could check it out there and just see if it kind of scratches any itch for you before considering spending any money.
Before we get more into it, Matty, Caleb Peacock wrote in and said, this question is for Matty. How much does Atomfall scratch that Bethesda itch? You're talking to a major Bethesda fan who's hungry. Does it have good quests and exploration, combat, graphics, and jankiness is irrelevant to me. I don't need a, quote, good game. I need a game that captures me, if you know what I mean. Thanks.
Yes, definitely. I have had that itch too. I will admit, after Starfield and Shattered Space, I had a quiet worry within me if I am kind of over the Bethesda form of exploration. But this game, I was like, no. I was like, oh, it's still there, bro, because this game does it so fucking well. Yeah. If you like that sort of wandering and questing, this is that experience. Like, you'll see things in the distance and you will have that what's that there moment. And the reason you're going to chase it down is because the game does a really good job at rewarding you. You're always going to, like, I can only count on like one hand. There's a time I went into a building or something and I was like, or a room. I'm like, I don't know what this existed for. But most times you'll find something narratively, weapon, ammo, because it's a survival game too, as I can talk about a bit. You'll find something of value though, which makes that exploration worthwhile. It's why you went there in the first place. And it really allows you, like, I remember one time I set a marker on my map because I was trying to pursue the main story and I saw a bunker and I was like, oh, I don't know what this bunker is. Let me check it out. The bunker, without getting into narrative details, led me through into a cave, and this cave led me back into a town I was already in. And I just found out like there was this completely alternate entrance to said town. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, this was just hidden here. And there was so much shit I found in between that otherwise I wouldn't have. And it built the world really well. And then while I was in the town, I was like, oh, let me go talk to, again, no spoilers, like person X over here. I ended up finishing up their quest line. And I went, holy shit, I just got pulled way off track from what I wanted to do, but I had no problem with it happening because I wasn't even thinking. I was just like enjoying what the game was doing. And I was just, again, so impressed because that is like what Bethesda did for me. Mm-hmm. Like that level of just like, I am just taken on a journey without the sort of, there's two ways of doing that kind of exploration, right? There's like what Bethesda does proper, which I just described. And then I'm sorry, I'm going to dunk on Ubisoft again real quick, but they kind of establish this, which is like, they hit you with a lot of question marks as you're approaching. And they're just like constantly trying to draw they do like a 15 to 30 second roll. Like there's always something happening in those stretches, but Atomfall, much like a Bethesda game, and I value this in experience, values your downtime as you're going from A to B. So when you do see something, it kind of is like, I'm going to go for it. Whereas a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla is like, you're always getting hit with something. And it's like, can you withstand another distraction? This game really isn't testing your mettle or your patience. So yeah, just really, really solid exploration. And if you dig the world and the narrative, which I think if you're a fan of Bethesda games, you absolutely will. This game doesn't, again, enough to be distinct is what I want to emphasize. Because the story, again, the technology, that retro future look, that sort of thing is where it's most Fallout, that sense of nationalism, that's very Fallout coded. But that is a lot of where the comparisons end, and you can really line the gameplay up more with Stalker, but its narrative is just kind of Elden Ring, you know, like it's very like just kind of running around, just making your way and just be like, okay, I ended up here. Like, what's going on here? And just seeing this spider web. You don't literally see it, but you can feel it in your head, this spider web of narrative points all starting to interconnect and weave together. And these characters that are across the world are actually connected more and you realize. Speaking of which, the only drawback I think that this game has, besides its combat AI, is no fast travel. By the end of the game, you are doing a lot of back and forth, and that is something that they try. I think they were going for more realism, and I get that, but I think it was to the detriment of the game a little bit.
Sure,
you know, it was one of the snags where I was like, damn, I think there was a way to do this. They have like a sewer system, but you still have to go to the sewer system, and the sewer system at times is confusing to navigate. Where I'm like, no, that's just not a good solution. Yeah.
Do you have like any form of transportation to get around the world easier, or do you kind of just walk everywhere?
Which is my preferred method, might I add. That's one thing I also like about Bethesda games is like there's no vehicle you hop into. Not that it'd be bad with a vehicle, because I think Starfield did like a good job with like how ships fly around and feel. But I like it when it's on foot because, again, you get to stop, smell the roses, give you that opportunity to get distracted, just fly by something. That pace is so important. So there's no vehicles in this game, no fast travel, no nothing. Everywhere you're going is always on foot. And so I will admit there's some times where you kind of just huff and puff and go, okay, back over here I go. So that's worth keeping in mind. But again, this game is really well scoped where this walking is not, anything to fear per se. You can get from one end of the map to the other pretty quickly. And they're zones, I should specify. They are not one big open world map, but just multiple zones. So there's also like, if you're efficient, you've played these Bethesda games before, like you might see like, okay, I got to go from like top left of this zone to top right corner or bottom right corner. But there's something I didn't hit that's like in this pocket of the map. So I'm going to wander over here first, then hit it. So there's ways to kind of engage with the game while doing those long treks that keep it interesting. Yeah, all in all, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a cult classic kind of in the making, or a sleeper hit. It seems like,
for sure. Yeah, I hope it gets around. I do, because I just, again, I so many people are fine complaining about Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, and they're like, "Oh, which games have more soul or more heart?" And I'm like, "This is it." Like, do not, and especially, dude, everyone's complaining games are too big. This game you can beat very quickly, and it will grab hold of you if you're into this sort of thing. Like I said, the most immediate thing you might notice is the combat AI is bad, but not as bad as when I previewed it last August, but it's still pretty rough. But if you can get over that, it's still like really solid shooting, really good weapons. It's like the first game I've played outside of a Stalker 2 where getting like pristine level weapons feels really good. Like they have a whole achievement dedicated to it, because you start off with like rusty, fucked up looking weapons and actually build your way to like, oh my God, this actually looks like it's been well kept. It's got a really good flow to it. Very crafty focused, very survival focused, but I can stop there if you have questions.
No, yeah, I mean, I think you did a great job selling this game. I didn't really know much about it, but now I'm kind of interested in it, Matty.
Good.
Sounds cool. Yeah, sounds really cool. I mean, I wish there wasn't a million things out for me to play already, but this might be like one of those things I'll just put in the back of my mind and be like, okay, try to get to this later this year because it sounds good.
Game that I will say for those who are in similar position as Brad, which is many of us, it's a game you can squeeze in. Like,
cool.
Not just like, oh, this is like, it's so good, you're going to love, like, but it's a game that's small enough where if you like it, you can squeeze it in without too much fear of like, oh, this is going to overlap into something. Like it's 20 hours tops,
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is something maybe Colin would be into? I know it's hard to tell with that man.
Oh, it's tough at times, but I think he'd dig it. Yeah. Because he's like a Far Cry fan, and that's some of that.
Or he liked Fallout, right?
Yeah,
or he liked Fallout 3 at least.
Yeah,
I in Vegas.
The one thing I struggle to nail down with him is he likes guides, and this game does embrace the lack of agency. Like I think you'd like this more, Brad, because you seem to appreciate, if you're a big FromSoft fan, like that level.
I do love that stuff.
I'm going to discover this myself. I feel that stuff drives Colin a little insane now, and so I don't know if he would like that component, but if he did dig that component, I think he would like a lot of what this game offers for sure. Especially its setting, its dialogue, that sort of thing. Like I do feel like this could be up Colin's alley for sure.
Yeah, this sounds cool. Gene, do you have any questions for Matty or anything about the game?
No, I feel like he answered kind of everything.
Yeah.
Like how long is the game, you think? Like you said that's pretty easy to
like
dive
under
in
20 hours.
And out.
About under 20 hours. Yeah, it's like
that's incredible.
Yeah, and it feels meaty. So the great thing about it is it's a good sign of like purposeful game design that we were kind of talking about a bit. Like everything feels deliberate. Every character is placed in the right area. Locations are thought out. Like there's not just here's cave A, cave B. Like every facility you enter like had a purpose. There's lore documents backing it. But what's cool is like those lore documents, pretty much they take the idea of like, how you have environments that give you flavor text and readables that kind of just enrich the lore of the location. This game kind of makes it like, what if all of these that you picked up and read participated in your actual quest directions? And so and they're very digestible reads, like a paragraph or two tops. So you want to read them all because they don't take away from the game time at all. Like you're stopping for maybe 30 seconds max, maybe. So they're quick reads. And and you're gonna want to get them all because again, like it makes that side exploration really good. Like it takes a lot of the things it's a good it's a good thought exercise and like just solid game design with the things but rethinking how they're done and making you fall in love again with them.
Okay, cool, very nice, good sell, Matty.
Thank you.
I'll have to keep tabs on this game.
Yeah,
I definitely want to check it out
again. Yeah, good gamepad game. And if I just would put a warning out there, the combat AI is like they'll get stuck on walls. It's not even like Skyrim where they just kind of run at you, which they try to, but sometimes they just get confused. Sometimes like there'll be like you'll be wandering around the world and like a pocket of bandits will spawn like in the vicinity near you, and it's like I was just there. You were not.
Yeah, there. Sure.
It's got jank,
it's like it's like you're saying if the game is doing something interesting, you can put up with some things.
Yes,
some flaws.
Exactly. Like I don't care if like you're giving me, it's not just, oh, it's a good story. It's like you're giving me an interesting way to engage in narrative. I don't care that, these enemies stop sometimes dead in their tracks when I'm shooting them in the head. I like that more importantly, because there's a lot of backtracking that the enemies don't attack me every time they see me immediately. Like I have time to hide and get away. Like, again, the game knows it's not perfect. I think it's self-aware. So it just gets the things right that would have been very intrusive and destroyed the experience otherwise. Because if this is like a Far Cry where you have dudes like pulling up on you on buggies and shooting at you as you're just like wandering by yourself, like that distracts and disables the experience more than like Atomfall is like you have opportunity to hide, you can take them out, that sort of thing. So yeah, just really hope people check this one out. It also, I know you said you don't need good combat or graphics, but again, the first person shooting is really solid. It's not like you're running and gunning a ton. Like shotguns only have like a maximum of 2 shots in them. When you use a rifle, it's like a bolt action. So you're like really every shot counts
right
on that usage of the gun, but also the bullets you get. And it looks really good. There's a lot of green. It's a lot of overgrown. It works really well with the setting. But yeah, it is a very pretty game, in my opinion. There are some shots where I'm like, damn, okay. Just real sleeper hit. So please check this one out, especially if you're kind of down on like where AAA is at. This isn't AAA, but like, I think it'll give you a little hope is what I would say. Yeah. It's just like, oh, nice. Especially again, if you're like a Bethesda fan who's like, I don't know anymore, man. It's like you play, you'll be like, oh, I just need it done well. Right.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say on that. If there's any other questions.
Very cool. All right, boys. So just for a little bit, not a whole lot, but I'm going to talk a little bit about The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. I just needed something a little small game to fit in. I was waiting for the first Berserker Kazan to come out, so I'm going to be playing that. I'll talk about it next week because it just came out today. But anyways, I just need a little something to fill in between then. So I was like, you know what? I've only played this game once when it came out on 3DS, which was like 2013, I want to say, or something like that. It's like been a long time. I was like, I remember really liking this game, but I need to play through it again. So if anyone doesn't know, this game is it's pretty much Link to the Past 2.0. It uses like the same Hyrule for a lot of it. It has like a light and dark world / mechanic. So it is like the successor of that game. And I think it's just a sequel straight up. Mm-hmm. And I love A Link to the Past. It's like one of my favorite games of all time. So I was like, all right, it's time to revisit this game. Let's play it. Boot it up. It's been delightful so far. It's very good still. And I'm like, man, maybe this is better than A Link to the Past. And I'm like thinking about it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still going through it. But I'm like, just does a lot of cool things that I think help separate it. Like one interesting idea it does, this is probably the biggest difference is, in most Zelda games, traditional ones, you would go to a dungeon and you get an item in that dungeon to help you with the dungeon. Like you would go and you get the bow. Then you get the hook shot or something like that. In this game, it's interesting in the sense that it's kind of like Breath of the Wild in the sense is like, where the dungeons are, the locations. It tells you where they are, but you can go to them in any order. But for some of them, you will need an item. Like one instance, like, hey, you need the fire rod for this dungeon. The game kind of has like a symbol letting you know when you get to the dungeon or something like that. Often, sometimes you don't, but most of them it has a little symbol letting you know if you need something to progress. And what you can do is you can rent items now. You don't find them in dungeons anymore. There's a vendor who is like the middle of the whole map, and you can rent items from him, and you can go to the dungeons in any order you want, giving you a little bit of freedom and how you want to tackle things. You could also buy the items for much more money if you want to have them permanently. Because if you rent them, if you die, they get taken away from you, so you have to rent them again. So it kind of gives you this, especially early on when you don't have a lot of money, this kind of like more risky feeling of like, oh, I hope I don't die because I don't want to lose my items like that. And it's a penalty, but it's not so steep where it's like, well, now I got to spend 20 minutes getting back to where I was or anything like that. It's all pretty fair, I would say. But when you buy an item, it's kind of expensive. So I appreciate that. Like, makes your money feel valuable, because a lot of Zelda games, especially earlier ones, money didn't feel very valuable. You could buy stuff super early. Like in Zelda 1, money's pretty good. You can buy a couple things. In Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, money is good and valuable. But a lot of the other Zelda games doesn't matter so much. So they do add some flavor to that, and I really appreciate that. Also, the dungeon designs are pretty cool. Like I said, it is Link to the Past 2.0. It's like the same. You're going to a lot of the same dungeons. They're completely different layouts, though, in certain aspects. It's not necessarily like always the same dungeon, but you'll definitely feel familiar things. But they have cool mechanics. Like one of them was this light dungeon where it's very dark, and depending on if you put out lights or not, you can see the floor light up. So it's like you got to balance between light and stuff like that, and turning on lights, turning off lights to make sure you can go over these paths and stuff. One of the dungeons, if you guys have played Zelda games, you'll know like the Wall Master, the giant hand that comes down, picks you up. Like if you've played Ocarina of Time, it's in the Forest Temple and stuff like that. If you get caught by it, it'll drag you to the beginning of the dungeon. There's one dungeon where it revolves around like this giant hand kind of following you throughout the whole process and outsmarting it and manipulating it to pick up stuff for you and stuff like that. It's really fun. So I'm playing it on an emulator right now and playing in 4K. It looks really cool. Awesome. But I remember when I played on 3DS, the 3D was actually really cool in it because of how it does like different floors, and it all looks really well done. Like it uses 3D, I guess, in a really good perspective. Like if you've played Super Mario 3D Land, it helps kind of with the navigation, like the platforming. It kind of feels like this here as well. Not quite as intense like Mario, because you're not platforming necessarily, like jumping from one thing to another. But the 3D is done in a good way. I guess you kind of expect that from Nintendo first party. Really great music. I like the way the game looks a lot too. I think it looks very well. It's like a nice upgraded version of Link to the Past translating to 3DS. I think they did a really good job. And I think it's honestly, well, someone wrote in about this as well, so I'm going to read this. Nick Costas wrote in 64. Hey dudes, I believe for a long time that Link Between Worlds is a perfect entry point for newcomers to the series. Not too difficult, has a clever twist on light and / dark dimensions, a cute style, and a good introduction and guidance for items. Do you agree with that this game is a good entry point for new Zelda players? It also begs the question, what are the odds Nintendo puts this game on modern hardware? I don't even want to think about
anybody's
that.
Guess, man. We got so many more. We got Wind Waker. We still want
Twilight Princess. Yeah, we got a lot to do. Yeah. Nintendo. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually do think this is a very good entry point for people to the series. Like Nick was saying here, introduces items at a nice pace. The world's not too big, not too complicated. There is a lot of freedom though, that Zelda exploration you kind of want. It's not Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom like that or anything like that. It's a smaller game. But I think for someone who's just getting into the series, it works really well. Like I used to say, A Link to the Past was a really good entry point for a lot of things until Micah struggled with a lot of that game. But she got through this game, so maybe this is a really good entry point for that game. Oh, and of course, the biggest mechanic I forgot to talk about is the wall mechanic. So basically,
this is that one. All right.
The villain of the game, he is essentially turning people into paintings and stuff like that and putting them on the wall. And Link, you get turned into a painting, so but he somehow breaks out of it, and you can go along the wall and as like a little picture. And of course, Nintendo always has really good level design and makes really clever use of their mechanics, and is in full spades here. Like going behind certain angles, you'll find like a really cool secret, really making you think outside the box, because you're so used to this perspective of like how the game is laid out, this top down. But it's like you get a peek around the curtain when you kind of do this thing. You're like going behind objects and seeing the renders behind there. You're like, oh, this feels really cool. It almost feels like you're breaking the game, like you're using Game Shark or something like that. But it's a total mechanic of the game. And it's used in fun ways. Like, for instance, there was this room where it was like a maze almost looked kind of thing. And I was like, man, how do I get through this kind of thing? There doesn't seem a way to get through it. But when I looked closer, I could see little cracks in the wall. And I was like, oh, okay, I got to go on the wall than really go through it. And you can go through like very tiny cracks as this little painting. So it really opens up the level design and exploration in that sense. So I haven't finished it, like I said, but it's been delightful so far. I think the level design is really good. The music's really good. The item usage is really fun. If you like old school top-down Zelda games, like maybe let's say you came, Echoes of Wisdom was your first one or like that. It's maybe not as crazy mechanically in the sense of the stuff you can do with like beds and as Gene knows well with all the stacking of beds and stuff like that. But there's a lot of creativity here, a lot of fun to be had. And it's a relatively good length. It's not too long. It's not bloated or anything like that. It doesn't overwhelm you. It's a delightful little game that I recommend everyone to play. I think it's a really good game if you've not played it. Maddie, have you played this?
Actually, there's a hilarious story behind this. I wanted to review this one, and famously, if you're not pressed, Nintendo is like impossible.
Oh, well, even if you are pressed, Nintendo is still...
At least you have a better chance than me, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I remember I got contact with like one of their, like the media firm that represents them, and they it's so funny because it is Nintendo to me. I'm curious what you guys think of this, but basically I was like, yeah, I want to review Link Between Worlds. Like I was trying to expand my review game. I want to cover everything. I was like, yeah, I'd love to do this one. And they're like, okay, we can send you a copy. It would be a rental. You'd have to send back the game to us in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, so you say, yeah, I was like, they said that to me. I was like, the fuck out of here. I was like, what? It's not even like keep it for my collection. I'm just like, I don't want a timer on this thing, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you guys are, you're Nintendo. What do you mean you want the copy back? Because the thing is, like, at that time I was starting to get review codes, and I'm like, and this is also at the time because it's so different now. But like Ubisoft would mail stuff to me. They'd be like, here's your game, and they would like literally send me like Assassin's Creed Black Flag in the mail physically. It would just appear on my doorstep one day. I'm like, okay, I guess this is my review copy. Same thing with Rogue and so on. And it was like yours to keep, but also it was like, you know, here's how you're going to play the game. But with this game, Nintendo of all companies does more money than God was like, please send it back to us once you're done. And you have 2 weeks. I was like, no, I'm good. Sorry guys. Like it was such a weird ass. So that's common, Brad. That's like a thing that they do.
Well, here, let me give you an example. So when I was at Game Trailers, it was either a Wii U. I think they had this with the Wii as well, but I think it was the Wii U. There was like a system locked up by them at our office that only they could really access and get in there. They would like come and put stuff on it at a point. Yeah. So Nintendo is very strict about a lot of stuff.
That's insane. Yeah, that's okay. Interesting. Because that makes sense to me, I guess, right? If they're like within arm's reach, they may as well. But to know, like, I had to send it back. So I remember buying it myself. I think I have it in my collection. I'll have to double check. But I do remember messing around with this one, and the 2D mechanic was interesting. It reminds me a little bit. I think Odyssey does that a little bit, right? Like,
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that idea in this game. I admit my Zelda experience is respectable, but very limited. I never finished this one, but I liked what I played.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so many Zelda games.
Yeah.
So, Gene, thoughts about this game as a fellow Zelda enthusiast?
Yeah, it's been a couple years. I played it in 2015, actually. When did it come out?
I think 13. I can double check.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was 2013. So I played it in 2015 when I finally got a 3DS. And I absolutely loved it. I was like, I think that's the reason why I feel like I feel pretty well fed when it comes to 2D Zelda. There it is.
I have it.
Very nice.
Little box.
Confirmed.
Very nice.
Very cool cover, golden cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Golden Realm, right? I remember thinking, they should just keep making more of these. So that's why when Link's Awakening and finally Echo's Wisdom came out, so yeah, don't abandon the top-down Zelda. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't.
I feel like it kind of goes back to to go back to Assassin's Creed Shadows real quick. I really like what Matty said about how what Matty said about how these games are like so many different types of games. They should just fucking break apart Assassin's Creed like they have Zelda. You know. Why don't we have a smaller stealth game? And if you want a big ass Witcher 3 RPG, then focus on making that an RPG as opposed to a stealth game. But then why don't you just break out a smaller stealth game, you know, and still do that, you know? And here's Nintendo still making top-down Zelda games and also their big open world mega blockbusters.
Yeah, and everyone gets impressed, right?
You know, like RGG and the Yakuza series. They're like, no, the mainline series is turn based. Oh, but people still love action games, so now we still have more action games than ever before with like Dragon Gaiden and obviously Pirate Yakuza. So it's you have like 10 million people working on a one Assassin's Creed Shadows game. Why don't you just break that apart and just make different games? Make different better games. They're not trying to make top-down Zelda an open world massive game too.
Yeah,
I think that's what some of these publishers recognize is that there are different audiences for different slices of our games. So we should just serve them directly.
Yeah. Lower budgets too. It's pretty nice.
Yep, lower budgets.
Good
too.
deal. If you get to sell more products to us, we get to consume.
Yes, that's right.
Fucking deal.
Yeah, this all makes me want to play Assassin's Creed Mirage or whatever the fuck it was called again. Because was it called Mirage?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't like Mirage, but yeah, like it definitely, at least its appeal was that you could beat it in like 25 hours or something like that if you wanted to.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to see that again because I had fun with it.
Yeah,
and I finished it. And
again,
AC Shadows.
There is a
finish
insider gaming report on Assassin's Creed Hex, which is the one next year, and then we know that the rumor / leak is that Black Flag remake is this year. So that also helped me dropping Shadows because I was like, if I'm gonna play a full Assassin's Creed game this year, it's not.
Yeah, 2 in 1 year. Yeah. Wow, it's like RGG.
Yeah, but next year is Hex, and Hex is described as a more linear experience. So I think they might be doing that over time, at least small and big. We'll see if they go Assassin and RPG, but small and big for sure.
Yeah. All right, boys, it's time for Sort It Out. On this segment, we just talk about something that needs sorting in the industry, something we're not happy with. Could be a game, publisher, company, whatever, however personal you want to get. Matty.
Yes, sir.
Anything for you this week?
Yeah, I got a funny one. All right, I want to be clear. I'm goofing off with this one a little bit. Sorted out Xbox.
Oh,
so many games in April. Who the fuck has time for them? Let's go down the list, Brad and Gene.
Yeah.
South of Midnight. Now I'm also accounting for day one Game Pass games, which are pretty important to their ecosystem. Expedition 33. Forza Horizon 5 is going to PS5 that month. Towerborn is coming out day one Game Pass. Indiana Jones today as we record. Confirmed for PS5 April 17th. They're still sitting on ABK content, which undoubtedly is on the way.
Yep.
And there's now the rumor that Oblivion Remake is getting shadow dropped in April. So I'm not actually complaining because I've always said Xbox needs to release more in the front half of the year. I wasn't saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fucking games in a month. That's not where I was going with this whole thing. I was like,
that's a little excessive.
A major game a quarter, maybe 2. That'd be great. 6 in a month is, I don't care. I know I'm stretching the numbers a bit, but dude, what the hell? And it's great because a lot of these are awesome. All of these are either awesome looking or established good games. But if you are like a PlayStation fan who's also got a Game Pass subscription, like, I don't know how you do all this. If you're an Xbox fan, like the best leg up you have is that you've already played Horizon 5 and Indy maybe in those right pockets. Towerborn is still technically early access. This is the console early access launch. So maybe you could put that to the side, but you still have South of Midnight, which when I previewed it, I was like, this looks awesome. Expedition 33 is a full-on JRPG. And then Oblivion speaks for itself, dude. It's fucking Oblivion. That's a 100+ hour game. I know. Easily. So
it's so weird if Oblivion comes out and it's just, or if they announce it and it's just like out or like a week from the announcement. That's gonna be crazy, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So I kid because I don't really need Xbox to sort this out because I'm glad they're actually just going in on crazy. What is like good, compelling content. This is what we wanted from them. And these are all different shapes and sizes. Like the best thing you can say about South of Midnight, if you're looking at all these, you're like, damn, I want to play all these. The South of Midnight's like apparently under 12 hours long. So
that game looks cool. I want to play it.
I mean, when I played it, it reminded me of like OG Xbox exclusives. It was really strong.
That's the kind of energy awesome. I'm looking for.
Art's amazing. Yeah. So a lot to look forward to in all seriousness. But yeah, just like I'm like, sort it out, guys. Like this is May exists, June exists. You know, like if you're trying to fit into Q2, you know, like there's stuff that exists throughout other months that you could like, you know, you just have Doom in May. Like you could surround Doom with like Indie, or you could surround Doom with like I don't know, one of these games. I thought Expedition might slip, but they just went gold. So I'm like, damn, like this is actually happening. So Xbox's April is stacked. Sort it out, would you? Sort out my schedule.
Crazy. They're putting out so much content, Matty, now, but it's so funny because they're like third party now.
Yep.
The diehards waited for this day, but not like this. Not the monkey's
not like
paw.
this.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, so many good games, dude. Yeah, they're crazy right now.
Yeah.
Putting out a lot of good shit. All right, Gene, anything from you?
Just a quick sorted out. I know that this was all expected, but the deadline for using your gold coins for My Nintendo points ends today.
Oh,
it's
shit.
over.
That's the thing. When you buy stuff digitally, you can like get a discount. Is that what that is?
Yeah, when you buy stuff digitally or even physically too, but you have to pop in the card or whatever.
Okay, I might buy something today. I think I've been.
I think it might be over already because the gold coins just don't show up on My Nintendo the profile period.
Oh my god!
You might still be able to use it, but I don't know if you can still claim the coins or whatever. But yeah, this is all expected. And I didn't really care much about it when it was announced, but now that it's here and like I still have a lot of gold coins left over to use, but I don't really know what to buy, and it sucks. So sorted out Nintendo. I wish this program kept going because you're still selling the Nintendo Switch. People are still out there buying new copies of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like you still have an active service going on. This did not need to die this soon. You haven't even had your Nintendo Switch Direct 2 yet, or Nintendo Switch 2 Direct yet. At least you could have waited until then. Until we could have had something else to be excited for. But right now we're just kind of like in a pocket of like, well, I have all these gold coins and nothing to do with them, and feels like this system is dying already when it doesn't need to. Like the PS4 is still active, unfortunately for a lot of people, but it's still hot. So it's like, what's up with the Switch, man?
Yeah. We have a funny one that kind of ties into this, Gene, later. But we'll start with, I don't have anything right now. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right. I'm like, fuck you.
Gee, Brad, you should be more prepared for the show.
Well, it's my show, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. Because I already went in on Ubisoft like a week or two ago because I complained about their microtransactions because I knew they'd be there in shadows, and it sounds like they are. So there's a early one, but maybe I'll get pissed off about something later. We'll see. Let's see. Brad Felix wrote in, AO Summoners sorted out annual release sports games and their uber predatory microtransactions. Dude, capitalized Uber on that. 2K, I am looking directly at you. You have taken the joy out of NBA 2K, PGA, and every other game your grubby hands touch. EA is no better. I can maybe understand if these games were existing service games and they didn't have an annual release schedule, but the fact that these purchases really are only good for 1 year and the game is no longer current, garbage. I wish there was some government regulations on this shit. Peace and love, y'all. Keep supporting quality devs like Warhorse and Lariat. Yeah, man. Yeah. That shit sucks. Yeah. It's horrible.
Agreed.
But
it's just,
I don't know.
Sports games used to be like really fun and interesting in the early 2000s. Like I've always talked about like there was the simulation games, the arcade games, the competitors 2 simulation, but now it's boring because it feels figured out. And there's no game development so expensive that like, no one's like, well, let's go like try to go up against NBA 2K and make our own basketball game, unless you're EA, who tried to like pretty much have a monopoly over all sports games. So they were like, well, of course we're going to go for it. But, like even the days of like NBA Street is just like gone. Sad because again, sports games used to have that like pocket where like non-sports fans could get in and they'd have fun with it. The closest you get now is like a baseball mini game in Persona 5, like you get that like batting cage or something. That's about it. Part of my dogs.
That's about it. All right. Diddle Me Twice wrote in. Jeez. All right, this one's for you, Gene. Sorted out in-game currencies that expire. Fuck you. You don't deserve Vaseline. Oh my god.
Jesus.
I've had Street Fighter 6 fight coins for over a year. I want to spend your fight coins, but there's nothing in the fucking store worth buying. Capcom isn't releasing skins for normal characters. Just that stupid World Tour custom avatar bullshit. Why not give Ryu the Phoenix Wright suit? Give Akuma the Silver Samurai outfit. Give Mai the Felicia outfit. But no, you fucking give it to avatars. Oh, here's a basketball jersey for your avatar. 700 fight coins. Get the fuck out of here. I sometimes buy the battle pass to get the arcade ROMs or the music. At the end of the pass, I get 90% of my coins back. Now you're telling me coins are about to expire? Are those technically new fight coins? To be fair, I don't know if this is a Capcom thing or a normal thing. I don't buy much currency in live service games. I only have fight coins because I bought 3 costumes last year, and the costumes are equivalent to $4.50, but fight coins start at $5. That's bullshit. Sort it out. I'm glad the European Union is doing something about all these horrible practices. Yeah, welcome to live service, man.
Yeah.
You can never just buy or have enough to buy the thing outright. You need to spend a little more to get the actual thing. So if it's $4.50, like you're saying, you got to spend $5 because that's how they sell the currency bundles. All right, we're back. Just had a little break in between. We're ready to go once again.
I could talk about why the break was there. I was actually, I had to hop out for a second to interview Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. The guy knows my name, but he I have no idea how to pronounce his. But Craig obviously was Chernobyl HBO fame, but I had to have a little chat with them about Last of Us Season 2 on HBO.
Okay.
So that should be interesting. I actually watched the first episode already. So
sometime on the Washington Post or whatever.
Yeah.
Gene will probably let you know when it's out.
2 starts April 13th. So
yeah, cool.
There we go.
Yeah. And the PC release is coming out soon too, I think, right?
Yeah, it is. All right. Let me see here. This is from AJ White. I'm issuing a hard sorted out to our very own Mr. Matty Plays for complaining and defining Duke the other week that Kojima is releasing Death Stranding 2 too soon for him to finish the original. Hey, did you know it came out in 2019? 5 years of talking shit about it, and now you want to finally give it a chance? But you still insist on playing weeb gooner shit. I'm just giving you the smoke. This comes from a place of love. The game is fucking fantastic, and I hope you see it through. P.S. Definitely give yourself a break between these 2 games. You may be a little burnt out at the end of the first one if you go for the platinum. Much love to you all.
First off, smoke well deserved. This is very fair. I'm complaining about it from my very particular angle of like, all right, it came to Xbox, I'll give it a try. And then I played it and I was like, yeah, this is actually fire.
Dude, I told you, Matty.
Yeah.
I tried to sell you on it.
I know.
You and Cog.
I know.
You guys said LOL F or
Cog
FedEx delivery.
Is Cog finally trying it too?
I
hope so.
I thought Cog got further than me. I thought he was playing it a lot more.
So he's trying.
But yeah.
But now you've both seen the light, at least.
Yeah. It just, I didn't know when they gave us a release date that they were like, hey, it's out in 3 months. I was like, okay. So now the predicament as put here is like, yeah, I definitely want to break between these 2 games. Naturally they're going to be long hauls. But I didn't might keep it up about April, right? I was just like, there's just so much coming out. And I know, like in the case of South of Midnight, shorter, but it's like, where am I going to fit in Death Stranding 1? I still don't know. It's tough, AJ. I'm trying my best here, but Kojima should have worked around me and maybe put it in like August. Could have made it happen there because you got to remember, like they're saying summer is Lies of P Overture, and like that is the game of the year incoming. And
it's a busy year, actually. Yeah, it's actually finally a good year for games.
I know. Like last year was just so fucking mid to me. Like, yeah, this year has been really great. So I'm gonna try to find a way because I don't want to miss out on this. I've never really been actively part of a Hideo Kojima marketing cycle, like it's just like seeing the 10-minute trailer and going like, oh my God. I just have seen this Solid Snake ass dude in one shot of the trailer where I'm just like, Konami's lawyers are writing something up for Mr. Kojima. But other than that, I don't know much at all. So I want to enjoy that because I had that with Death Stranding, but it was a lot of what the fuckery. It was like, this is stupid, bro. I'm good. Like I just tuned out. But now that I know it's kind of sick, I want to get involved a little bit. So I want to enjoy at least one trailer from the outside before I can get in.
What did it take for you to actually understand that the game is actually cool? Like I'm curious because Brad and I obviously love it, but I think some people out there are still skeptical. Oh, it's a walking simulator. Oh, you don't do anything.
I think it has more gameplay than it gets credit for starters. Definitely. That was immediately apparent, but I think for AAA, when people talk about a conventional style of design, if you will, this game is very unconventional in everything it does. I think it does still get some passes like, oh, there's the Monster Energy drink promotion and that sort of shit. But yeah, dude, it's just like really in how different it is, but yet how high budget all of the different things are. Where you just look at it and go like, how did this guy get funding for this thing? From that angle, I find it deeply fascinating, but just on like a gameplay level, it's fun to play. I'm definitely like holding my breath in those moments where I'm like crawling around the open, like they turned the open world into a stealth segment. Like it's just very different, and the story elements were not as batshit. Like it reminded me a little bit of Kingdom Hearts where I'm like, I'm putting this together in my head. But if you ask me right now, like, well, what happened? Like, I'm not quite sure how to explain it at this moment in time, but there were a lot of interesting elements of like crying and people wanting to die and getting picked up upside down and whatnot. I was like, what the fuck? But it's so crazy that you just want to keep going. So that was the other thing.
The story's not that hard to figure out, actually, right? It's fairly easy to follow, right?
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, like when I was in it, pretty much what I'm going to do is rewatch the video I made on my first. I'm glad I did that. It was like just a video of me playing the first like 4 hours of Death Stranding. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like you just see the gradual like breakthrough happening. Music is also awesome.
Music is excellent.
And I do think Kojima also just gets a lot of shit for go make a movie, bro. And I think the only game that was probably applicable to, from what I've heard, not played, but like Metal Gear Solid 4.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of cutscenes in 4.
It's just 4. I think it still has the Guinness World Record for the longest cutscene ever, too. So
yeah, so I just think of that. But a lot of people were saying like, go make a movie, bro, with something like Death Stranding, and I don't get that vibe. I actually feel like he, from what I played, wove together gameplay and movie loving talent into one thing. And so that again, it's just very unconventional. Like you can feel the. I say this as a positive, by the way, because some people use it as a negative, but like he's an auteur. Like, you can feel like this is his game. This is his style. This is his approach. And, I've liked Kojima games before, but this one I was like, oh, I might love this. So
cool.
I do want to wrap it for sure.
Yeah, you're right. That Death Stranding is mostly gameplay. It's like 85%, 90% game, actually.
Yeah, like you're playing a lot. And if you're like me, and I mean, like I was just talking about Atomfall, like I love when a game's got good point A to point B. It doesn't have to be like Spider-Man where I'm like whipping around buildings and stuff. Like this game has fun point A to point B because I'm walking and I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to go down this hill too fast. You
don't want to stumble.
Yeah. Like it's a different kind of point A to point B that I enjoy. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I do want to finish it, but AJ is totally right. I did spend 5 fucking years just hating this dude's soul. Like, why is he doing this shit? Only to play it and go, yeah, all right.
Video Game Donkey dunked on the game initially, and then he played it like a year and a half into COVID or whatever, and he was like, no, actually, this game is actually great. And it's like, yes, guys, you just need to give it a chance.
The other thing that got me, because I think I sound like an asshole from the outside, but the other thing that got me was the whole it's a new genre. That
strange genre?
Yeah, that got me where I was just like, okay, dude, like your head's so far up your own ass right now. It's ridiculous.
Pretentious, yes, I get that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that pushed me off a little bit, but now that I've read Kojima's book and stuff, and I feel like I get his brain a little bit more. I'm like, okay, this seems pretty par for the course for him. So, excited to I don't want to overcommit because I've done this on shows before. Like, I'm definitely going to play that, and I just life hits me, and I'm like, yeah, obviously this is not the right choice. But in a perfect world, I finished this game end of April. Like second half of April. I think that'd be my goal.
Because I don't want you to get burnt out either before 2.
Yeah. Is 2 looking like it has more of the... I know a lot of people want like the kind of Metal Gear Solid gameplay to kind of find its way in this series. I have not watched a trailer because obviously I don't want to get spoiled, but gameplay-wise, what is it looking like?
A lot more action this time. A lot more guns. A lot more enemies. Like they showed an enemy that like has a jetpack and flies to the side or whatever like that. So it's like, oh, we're Halo up in here. That's like an elite jetpack. Like, or that's like a brute. Like
Yeah.
Remember in Halo 3 how the brutes would always like fly like back and forth up and down. Like we're actually starting to see that now in Death Stranding too. So.
Yeah,
it really does seem a lot of different environments and everything like that. A lot more new vehicles, a lot more like urban environments and like city, like sci-fi environments.
Not just like mountains.
I can't fucking wait, dude.
Yeah, not just
it sounds
Norway.
awesome. Yeah, knowing that
Or
there's more
Iceland.
gunplay and stuff has me very interested because what the biggest compliment I can give it is like just walking around, I was having a good time. And I'm just like, that's like the ultimate accomplishment in a game is like, oh, moving is fun. You know, so I that has me very pumped. That's good to hear. Because I know Director's Cut looked like they were trying to get people like me in, where when I saw they were doing like these little stealth segments, I went, oh, okay, cool. Like that's what piqued my curiosity for the first time with the franchise.
Oh, that still thing. That thing is so short. That whole thing you're thinking of.
Yeah.
It's very small.
I'm glad. Yeah, that's fine now because I'm glad to say like, oh, I was having fun with what the core of the game is. So
it turns out you just like the game. The
it turns
game
out I just
you
like
like Death Stranding. Yeah,
you like Death Stranding for what it is, which is awesome.
Yes.
You know, again, Matty, like you really say some really smart things. The movement is fun. But I think people need to remember that the movement is fun. You know, people forget that moving around in video games is fucking fun. You know, it's really fun. Like Mario 64. Many of our audience and Matty, you too, probably don't remember, but the first time you pick up Mario 64 and an analog stick, and then you move around as Mario, like you don't leave Princess Peach's castle for like several hours because the movement was so fun. So the movement in Death Stranding is fun. Like, you know, that's what video games are. It's fun to move around in them, and sometimes you just want to do that forever. You know,
it's a vibe too. Yeah. It's good atmosphere. I'm a sucker for atmosphere. The game really hits a lot of my personal like preferences in more areas than I expected. That was cool too.
Yeah, man.
Figure it out.
It's good shit.
Chris Reagan like it also kind of speaks to like how like gamey it is, and like it has so much to do with physics and like just like the groundedness of the gameplay. You know.
So like I said, I really want to be part of the launch of it and not get left out this time. So
we want you there, dude.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to force it because I don't want to do like Death Stranding too dirty, but you know, like I'm ready for this journey, bro. Like I want to be taken away to like this fucking crazy ass world where I have no idea what the hell is going on. So
and during like a Kojima hype cycle, there's nothing like a Kojima hype cycle.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's almost better than the games itself, honestly. You know?
It's real fun.
Yeah.
Better than MGS5. I'll say.
MGS5.
I'm just talking shit.
I was that one because I remember like we couldn't tell if it was like Snake at the first reveal when he just called that. What did he just call it? Like Phantom Pain.
Phantom Pain. Yeah.
Phantom Pain. MGS5's marketing cycle was insane. Like I felt like I was having more fun like imagining what the game could be as opposed to like actually getting the story, which was, you know,
they should have finished the game using that budget.
Yeah. The marketing budget should have went to finishing the game.
So, yeah. I played it for like 40 hours, and like when I went back to the oil rig or whatever it was for like the fourth time in a row, I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah, this is a good time. I'm good though.
Don't worry, they didn't finish it either, Matty, so it's fine.
Yeah.
As a lifelong Metal Gear fan, I was like, man, what are you doing? Everyone knows if you've played Metal Gear 5, you know.
Have you played Metal Gear Survive?
I love it. I love Phantom Pain.
Yeah,
Phantom Pain is one of my favorite games of all time. But
I played some of it. I didn't play all of it.
Oh, okay.
It was dog shit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was dog shit.
Well, nowadays with how Konami's kind of functioning, I mean, we got to see how it all pans out. But like Silent Hill F looking pretty good. Like, would you hate a Metal Gear game without Kojima now?
Yeah, it's real.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Matty, I honestly don't know. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. You
because Metal Gear is so Kojima, and he's already making Fizzant or whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah,
he's doing another stealth action game.
Yeah, he signed on for one, right?
That's right. Yeah,
espionage.
So we don't even need more Metal Gear. Metal Gear 4 was like the ending for Metal Gear for me, pretty much. It ended there.
Yeah,
that's why there's so many cutscenes, man. Because they had a shit ton to wrap up. A lot to wrap. Yeah, Gene knows. Whatever. We can go on a whole rant about.
I heard
Metal
it's like
Gear
a 3-hour ending. Am I right? Like, is that?
I don't remember how long it is, but it is long.
It was about 3 hours, yeah. I mean, there was a cutscene in the middle of the game that was like about 2 hours. Like this is in the middle of the game, and I think that's the longest cutscene Guinness World Record holder.
Wow.
But Gene, were you like me, just eating it up?
I loved it. No, I loved it. I was literally eating as the cutscenes were happening. I would just order a pizza and just like watch the game for like a long time. I'm like, all right, well,
I know.
Did they warn you? Did they say like, hey, you're about to enter like a movie? Because like
no.
So you're just like, oh, like, hang on, I'm going to wrap. Like, imagine there's got to be thousands of people who are like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this cutscene and then go to bed. And it's like 2 a.m. and they go to bed at like 3 or 5 or something like that.
That happened with fucking Death Stranding 1, man.
Oh no.
There's some long cutscenes in Death Stranding.
Fair warning, but like I was right at the end of Death Stranding 1. I was like, well, it's like midnight. I can finish this game right now, right? And just go to sleep by like 1 or 2. And it was like, it's like done by like 5 a.m. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Maddie, if you ever play Metal Gear 4, you set aside everything for Metal Gear when you play 4.
Yeah.
Just let you know. If you ever get to it.
The game is, you want to talk about respecting your time. The game doesn't give a shit about your time at all.
Yeah. I was going to say that, like, if they just give you a heads up, like, hey, save here.
Nope.
We're about to hear you a long cutscene. Would you think that Metal Gear Solid 4, like the volume 2 that they're inevitably going to do, if it includes Metal Gear Solid 4 in that, do you think they make that change?
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't. Just
that'd be funny.
Just surprise, just jump scare people with like 3-hour long cutscenes.
Yeah, I don't really know about those quality of life kind of things, Maddie. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm asking a million questions. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Yeah,
no,
I love it.
We're talking.
You're
Kojima.
like, you're learning more about Kojima.
You can turn this into a whole Kojima cast, no problem.
Yeah, and Metal Gear, and like Death Stranding, Maddie. You're speaking my.
You guys read his
language.
book, Creative Gene?
No, I
have it right here. Yeah, the book right there. I love it.
Don't read it. You love it?
I love it.
I think it's so bad.
he just if you go in there expecting like game like insight or whatever like that, no.
Yeah, like I feel like I only learned that this guy's like a maniac. That's the only thing I guess mission accomplished, but it's just like old blog posts and I'm just like, wow, this guy is he's a real piece of work, isn't he?
Yeah.
He loves posting and creating content and like writing and stuff like that, and he just like writing about art. And there's a scene in the book where he was trapped in an elevator with a bunch of people, and then like his assistant is freaking out, and the whole time he's like, oh, this is just like that movie,
Yeah, like
I stuck in the elevator, and it's like, so it just really goes into like a lot of insight into like exactly, you're right, like, this guy's kind of a maniac, So for Kojima diehards like me, it's like comforting to see that, he really is like an insane person,
like everything to him is fuel. I find myself in that weird, it's uncomfortable at times because I won't specify certain events, but there's things I see where I'm just like, there's a story there. And that was the one thing that was comforting about reading his book. And I'm like, this guy thinks on that level. Like anything that happens around him is like fuel for his storytelling.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anything. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, this could be good for a game. Oh, this could be good for a game. Or that could be
you died. Cool. Like noted. I'm gonna put that in my brain. We're gonna see if we can rework that.
Yeah, don't watch his or I guess watch it, but his don't have any expectations for a documentary. The Connecting Worlds documentary. That is a documentary that gives you zero insight into the man if you know anything about him.
Wow,
so.
How is that possible? Isn't that the point?
All it is just like all of his Hollywood friends saying, "Oh, Kojima is such a visionary. The way he thinks about games is so interesting." And then they just don't say anything more than that.
Very.
And then it's just Jeff Keighley saying he's the most popular game creator in the world, and say, "Okay, well, we already know that too. So what else is there?" And then he talks a little bit about how hard it was to start Kojima Productions, but he gives no insight into Metal Gear. He gives very little insight into what it's like to make Death Stranding. Like the closest thing you get to insight is that he forces all of his employees on movie nights. Like everyone has, like, if he wants to watch a movie, like he'll force everyone in the company to watch it, because it's like, this is the movie I'm thinking about. You all have to watch this to see what I'm thinking about.
I love that. Yeah. The other thing I get a kick out of is like when he sees something like kind of popping off, like the way he gets on it. Like I always remember after a Fallout show is like he just posts a picture a week later and it's him with like Ella Purnell in his studio, and I'm just like, this fucking guy, like just immediately he's like, oh, I know what I can do with her. Like he just has a vision right away.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, he is a one of a kind. All right, boys, it's time for Keep It Up. The exact opposite of Sorted Out. Stuff we're pleased with in gaming. Maddie, we will start with you once again.
I have a Keep It Up for Night Dive Studios.
Oh, nice. I feel like people have been bringing up Night Dive quite a bit for Keep It Up.
Yeah. So next to me is System Shock. Plan was to, until again, Death Stranding kind of fucked that up too. Plan was to play System Shock 1 and just experience that remake before 2. because I was saying on Defining Duke that there's a lot of immersive sim FPS games. Like I love Dishonored, for example, but I had this moment of awakening. It was actually on a video shitting on modern games compared to older games. And they were like comparing the physics and interactivity of like, I think it was Thief the Dark Project versus something else. And I sent it to Locke and I was like, what is this game? It looks like Dishonored. And that kind of opened up a lock in my brain where I was like, I should try these older games because I wonder if I would love them way more than Dishonored. And if I just love Dishonored by like what I was first introduced to in this style of game, really. I say all of that because Night Dive did System Shock Remake, and they do number one, they bring back these games that you never expect. Like they did Star Wars Dark Forces, which I thought was just really cool. Like, you know, I love that game. It's Star Wars meets kind of Wolfenstein / Doom. So that was awesome. They brought back The Thing. Like they're just bringing back these games that you never really expected to ever see back on shelves again. And, you know, I was reading into it a little bit, and I forgot his name, the CEO of the company started a whole vision because like of Night Dive, because you couldn't play System Shock 2 on like modern devices. So for them to kind of go in this full circle and be remaking it is really cool. But I just wanted to give them a keep it up because they're keeping these older games alive. They're not just picking like popular brands. Like System Shock is talked about in the hardcore community, but I can imagine like big business going like, I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. But not only do they do a good job just picking games out, but then they retain them in the ways you remembered them and just are very respectful in their polish of them. So I just, again, really appreciate their work and sort of how they're keeping that part of the scene very much alive. They're not the only ones. You know, you see what like GOG is doing with their kind of back compat program and you know, their preservation wish lists and stuff. Like they're doing a really good job there. But Night Dive really is kind of like a premier remake studio in the way of just like polishing up the visuals, the lighting a little bit, but you don't lose like I would say this, when I went to buy System Shock Remake, I was very surprised to learn people online saying like, yeah, this is as good as the original. There's usually the if and or buts, like if you like this, try this, but you might lose out on this. But it's like, no, this is the same game. It's just like, play this. Like it's the same thing. And it just looks a little better. I'm like, awesome. Like that's what I'm hoping for with these games when I pick them up is like, oh, should I deal with the jank so I get the true authentic experience? Or it's like, oh, wait, no, you modernized it and it's still the true authentic experience. Great. That's what I'm looking for. So they do a really good job with that stuff. And System Shock 2 Remake is, I think, going head to head with Death Stranding 2. I'm pretty sure they're on or right next to each other, like days apart. So yeah, that'll be a fun choice to make. But I wanted to give them a keep it up anyway because they're just doing really great work.
Yeah, excellent. Gene, anything from you this week for it?
I don't know. I can, just a generic keep it up to Monolith Soft. Success. It feels like Xenoblade Chronicles X was a success. They haven't announced any sales records, but who cares?
You've decided it's a success.
Huh?
I said you've decided it's a success. Doesn't matter.
The fact the game came out is a success in and of itself. It's kind of
before Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, we got Xenoblade Chronicles X.
That makes no sense, though. That makes no sense. Yeah, it's a weird world when the cult Wii U hit is released over the two Zelda games that were beautiful on the Wii U. That makes no sense.
Well, I saw a rumor that Nintendo might be. Two punching up guys right here. You let me know, but that they might be bringing like GameCube games, to Switch Online.
Yeah,
there was like some type of controller patent or something, and people were like, "Oh, so maybe we get both of those for the Switch 2 or something."
The GameCube, yeah. I mean, I'd play it.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'll play I don't care. I'll play the original GameCube versions of both those games. I kind of like them better.
Really well. I was playing Wind Waker.
Wind Waker. You can make an argument for.
Yeah, Wind Waker's art style, because it was very bloomed out for the Wii U remake, and it's like, so it doesn't look terrible, but it definitely looks different. Twilight Princess looks pretty much the same thing,
Yeah,
so
just some different
Twilight Princess.
I played it in 4:3, the GameCube original aspect ratio. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I would like a collection that's like 60 frames for both of them, but
No,
It's
you get
Nintendo.
Skyward Sword HD instead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I'm happy we got that. I am happy we got it.
I am very happy we got Skyward Sword HD. It made me actually like the game. So
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
yeah. The Wii version I didn't like because of the motion controls. And once they figured that out and made a really awkward control only system that you were able to figure out, then turned out to be a great game.
All right, mine kind of random. It's Neopol or Neopel. It's the developer behind like Dungeon and Fighter. That it's a Korean developer. You know, they did. I don't know if they helped with like DNF Duel that Arc System Works made. It's like that franchise.
Yeah.
The first Berserker Kazan's coming out today.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking forward to playing it. It looks like a really fun Souls-like. And I just like the idea of these like weird spinoffs this company is doing. Like,
yeah, dude.
Taking a mobile game and making like a quality fighting game out of it. And then making like a Souls-like game out of it. That's kind of, I like seeing that from certain IPs. Like, I think this could work for some companies particularly well, like Blizzard with Warcraft. I could see them making a fun Souls-like, or Diablo could maybe even do one, something like that. I just like when companies do weird, different genres with their IPs. So, and it looks cool. I don't know if it's good or not, but I have it pre-ordered, so I'll be playing it. But just want to give them a shout out. Who knows whenever they'll get a shout out again.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. This is from Ben Hayner. Keep it up, Tango Gameworks. Playing The Evil Within 2 for the first time, and this game slaps. Hell yeah.
Sure does.
Evil Within 2 does slap. Play them both. They're both great.
Yeah.
We'll never get a third one though. Sadly.
Kind of a strange like open world survival horror game. You know, not quite open world, but like open zone. Really interesting game design there.
A good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome skill tree.
Yeah.
Controls really well. Scary as shit.
It's a great game. Yeah. Playing both. Yeah. They're both on Game Pass. I want to say now, or they were.
They are
maybe at a point. Yep. So check them out. And they're usually pretty cheap too if you want to buy it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is from Neo JD. Keep it up, Xbox. Tom Warren showed an Xbox UI image that had Steam listed on it, which was then taken down. If they actually let me use Steam on Xbox, I'll be more amped than you guys at a Sonic Furry convention. Well, relax, dude.
Hey, man.
Maddie, what do you make of this, dude? I'm sure you and Cog probably talked about this already.
Not yet. This broke after Duke. So,
okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't done deep research into what it means exactly. But like if it's like Xbox PC or if it's just like kind of, because some people were saying like it might just be like your Steam library showing up on the Xbox tab. Like your, so it just might be accounting for, because like I think GOG does a similar thing. Like you can have like your own games from Steam.
Oh, sure.
In there as well. So I have to do research on like what it means, but if it is what I hope it ends up being, which is like they're moving toward like Steam will be on that next Xbox system or whatever, I'll be very excited because that was one of my predictions, and I think it would be very good for Xbox. It would make them competitive in a way that I don't think any of us were really thinking about it like a year and a half ago or something like that. I don't think we were thinking about like, oh, well, as we're embracing this sort of play anywhere thing, if you make a system that can hold my full Steam library on top of my full Xbox library, that's a sales pitch unto itself, dude. I got hundreds of games just from those two libraries. So I think it's a interesting way of them thinking about their library issue of like, well, people have, as they've said many times on camera, have committed to their libraries, their digital ecosystems. But what if we make an ecosystem where you can bring other ecosystems into our own? Then what does that do? Or ours go to them?
Yeah.
It's a really interesting way of thinking about things. So I'm for it. I hope they do it. I think they will do it. I don't know if this is exactly it though. Like I said, I haven't done the full read up on it, but I think it's eventually going to happen because Xbox and Steam seem to have a good relationship.
Yeah. And at this point, it's probably a good idea. The only thing that confuses me about it, Maddie, is if they do this, I don't see a reason why many people would buy stuff off the Xbox store.
Sure.
So they'll get a less cut from everything from now, pretty much. Because, like, let's say, like, someone like me, if I had the Xbox, it's like, hey, you can have your Steam library on that. I'd be like, well, I'm buying everything on Steam. I'm never buying anything on Xbox again.
Sure.
Their store ever again. But I don't know. We're in strange times right now.
They're an engagement-driven company. I don't know what the fuck it does for them either, to be frank. I'm just on the assumption that they are going to just point these numbers to their shareholders and be like, look, even though they're not going to say, like, oh, these people are playing in Steam and these people are playing on Xbox. They're going to be like, we had 80 million people playing on Xbox last month. And
That's
look,
true.
yeah, like go dump money into us because like we're generating a lot of play. Like I think a lot of number curving might be going on right now. For example, I had a theory about all those April games I was talking about in the sorted out section. Was that I said to Cog, like the numbers after Call of Duty, we thought were going to be like really strong, showing like moving a needle one way or the other. And they were pretty timid, all things considered, when like the hard percentage increases came in. I was like, interesting. So what's your response? The next quarter, you have 6 games coming out in a month, and that might be a way to move the needle with engagement. And then you go to investors and be like, see, look, we're telling them about Muse. We're telling them about all of these AI plans, Copilot for gaming. We have this partner device that leaked. And look, our engagement has never been higher because we're putting things everywhere. And so that's why they hide sales figures. They're, I think, just getting investors to dump money into the engagement idea. And so I think that's the ultimate play there. But could be a similar thing here with like what they're going to do with Steam one day and just kind of roll all those monthly users on an Xbox platform together and start winning some, because they're good at taking the black eye in a PR battle. Like they just have no problem getting bruised up. But maybe they start getting some wins just by generating positive engagement-driven conversation. We'll see.
Yeah,
but Blizzard
I can see Steam
helping
too,
them out.
So MAUs, they love their MAUs.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll see.
We got hard game sales. That's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah, that's what we are curious about.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. This is a heinous name. A bukkake, but instead of cocks, it's shotguns. Wow. That might be the most insane
That's
name
the worst one I've ever heard.
What the
That is 100% the fucking worst one I've heard.
That's the worst one I've ever heard, ever.
I've done this for fucking like 5 years now. I think that is the worst goddamn name, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
What the hell?
I'm honored it happened on my show at least. I just want to keep it up to a studio that I'm sure many LSM staff might not.
This guy's dead serious too. I love it. I love it. He's writing
Digital
in like this,
Extreme. Yeah, this is not a cheeky email or write-in. Digital Extremes, their game Warframe is currently celebrating the 12th anniversary and they just dropped the Tech Rod Encore update. This update brings a brand new mode, new systems, weapons, and of course, another new Warframe. This one inspired by none other than David Bowie. After thousands of hours and many on and off periods since launch, I can confidently say there's nothing quite like Warframe. For Digital Extremes to continuously keep the game feeling fresh and exciting after 12 years is truly impressive. The game is more popular than ever with the greatest build diversity I've experienced in any game. This is what live service done right looks like. Thanks to everyone at LSM for this incredible work you do. Well, thanks for the incredibly entertaining name right in. Holy
I'm glad you take yourself seriously. That's good.
Yeah. Warframe is definitely a game I've been familiar with a long time, but I've never dived into. Because I look at it, I'm like, I can't do this right now. I can't get involved with this kind of thing right now. But I know people do love it. So it's great to hear that people are still so positive on it after 12 years. It's crazy.
The movement for it's awesome. Really good.
The first PS4 game, basically. It was pretty much there at launch. It was a free game. And it was like one of the only online multiplayer games available on the PS4 at the time. Wow. So
damn. Yeah,
long journey for Warframe. I played the hell out of Warframe for like a good year. Loved it. Absolutely amazing game. And then the game just blew up and turned into something completely different. And right now, it's like Destiny for me. I have no idea how to get back into this game at all.
Yeah, just got a lot going on.
Yeah, there's just way too much going on. They added like fishing and like I played during the open world when they added open world zones, and that was awesome. But I didn't know how to navigate that shit at all. I was like, fuck, I'm so fucking lost, dude. No tutorials, no there's no story at all,
Yeah. All right, boys, let's move on to Atelier Yumia. Matty.
Hello.
You've been playing this. We've been talking about this game a lot on Punching Up. Let me just read this first.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from the Muffin Mon. Matty, for 2 weeks now, the Punching Up crew has labeled Atelier Yumia as a gooner game. Can you please issue a sorted out and explain to them it's way more than just thighs and ass? Much love to everyone at LSM for amazing content each week. Well, Micah said that last week, Gene, when you were out, because she tried the demo.
Oh.
But I was kind of like, what's the problem, Micah?
Yes,
Sounds pretty cool.
I was trying to get Micah on the. Yeah. I'm not on the Atelier train, but I was trying to get her on the Yumia train a little bit. Like she was.
Dude, I just gotta say it's really funny because she brought it up in our staff Discord. Then Maddie comes out of nowhere and was like, "Hold up, this game's actually good."
Yeah, because I was reviewing it. I was just like, Micah, wait. I was like, wait, don't make a fucking sudden move right now. You might like this because I don't know how Micah feels about. I've never talked to her about it. How she feels about female character design. Like, no doubt. Atelier is a series from what I've experienced is very extreme. This is my first Atelier game. It definitely has Gunnar moments in older entries. Like I had a friend who played Ryza and he was streaming it. And like, for example, when the main character crawled underneath something, like, oh, the camera like went right up there. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, to me, that's where I draw a line. I'm like, that's fucking dumb, dude. Like, I'm like, that's stupid. If that's for someone else, fine. But that for me is like, I'm good. I'm a grown ass man. Don't need to be playing that shit. This game doesn't do that sort of stuff. It's still not tame in its character design though. There's characters like Nina where I'm just like, good Lord. But I think it is still like until they walk away from that kind of exaggerated proportions character design. By the way, Trail's guilty of this in a lot of areas too. Like Risha.
It is. Trail's is.
You know, there's like there's level design or character design that Xenoblade. I think every JRPG series to some extent or another, even Final Fantasy's not immune to it. Like there's Gunnar level character design in a lot of these franchises, but like Atelier does take it to a lot of their characters. Micah was also right. She was talking about in our staff chat. They'll be standing still and their boobs will jiggle. It's like a little ridiculous in those moments for sure. With that aside, though, this game,
there's a cutscene in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 where Pyro is like doing backflips and like she's like doing like vertical slices and her boobs like go like up and down, like they're like
it's insane.
Slapping her in the face. I never noticed that until recently.
It was someone's job, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine
Anyways,
like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just like putting that on your LinkedIn profile or something. But this game attacks your dopamine receptors in ways beyond boobs. I'm happy to tell it. So definitely, like if you're looking for a junk world, open world RPG kind of experience, I think this game will scratch that itch for you. Like I said, old Ubisoft games when I grew up, really liked them because number one, I thought the stories and stuff in them were pretty solid, but surrounding it was like, it was fun to go from like region to region, just check all the boxes, do everything I could in an area and then move on to the next one. This game does a lot of that, a lot of it, just lots of different activities all over the map, just checking boxes. It's got kind of a free to play vibe to it. Like if you were playing Genshin Impact without the monetization, which many people like me have always looked for something like that. Cause you know, like I enjoy the gamification of Genshin Impact, but when I'm playing Genshin, I know I'm playing like this, like one arm's behind my back the whole time, because if I pay up, you know, or I do my dailies and stuff, it's like this game, you can just play, you can blitz and you'll progress. What I mean by that is like everything in Atelier Yumia is always funneling into something else. So you're always progressing in like more ways than one. It's not just like, oh, I'm leveling up. It's like, as you complete areas, you're moving the region's progression forward. And as you move that forward, your pioneering efforts are moving forward. And as you're moving that forward, you're getting unlocks per ranks within your pioneering efforts. So it's just like levels of depth and unlocks, and you're getting new ingredients, and you'll go to like your atelier, which is, think of it like a glorious crafting bench where you'll synthesize all these materials together. And so you'll kind of, again, like on the outside, like what Micah says is totally true. Like there is Gunnar level stuff in the game at face value. Like it's really just in the character design. Atelier Yumia seems to be taking itself more seriously in its story. Like I don't think it's an amazing story, but it's taking itself seriously enough where it's not just like, oh, your clothes are missing, what happened? Like there's none of that shit happening so far, at least. You know, I'm about like 20 something hours in. And so, yeah, like they haven't, which by the way, something I give Trails, particularly the Cold Steel Saga, a ton of shit for. I can't stand how many times they go off track just to like talk about someone's appearance. I'm like, dude, no one talks like this. So Yumia is just really, again, in that character design area where everything else though, like has more depth than you'd expect. Like engaging in its world's activities are fun. Pushing that progression forward is fun. Crafting things is fun. Like there's no equipment stores where you like buy new armor. You build that all. The items you use in battle, you build all of those. You use them to like combo attacks together. The combat is really good. Like it's kind of like Valkyrie profile Lenneth, where you like everyone's assigned to like a face button. Cool. And you'll kind of like combo together different attacks. And if you catch an enemy weak, you can swap into another character, do their combo. And then you can activate items while you're comboing to do like friend attacks, friend actions. You can get vehicles, you get guns. It's just a video game, dude. Like it's the best thing I can say about it. You know, it's just a straight up video game. You know, it's you're not there for the story. If the character design puts you off, that's fair. It did that to me for like the whole time the franchise has existed up until this point. Like the main thing that got me over the edge was really that, like I was reading and the director said, we studied Oblivion when making this game. And I can kind of see some parts of where they're coming from. Like you can do what you do in Bethesda games. Like you can jump up walls and break the rules of the game and get inside like ceiling entrances to buildings or
really,
yeah, like it's really cool in that way. Like you can just like triple jump up walls and it's like, oh, they thought of this. Like they built like a whole rooftop section with a stair set that goes down and like I can get in that way now. And like sometimes the game expects you to do that. Like there are oftentimes like I'll see a question mark on my map and I'm like, I don't see an entrance and I just like have to jump up a tree and then jump up a wall and all of a sudden I'm there. So yeah, like the main reason I'm here is it's just a fun game to play. You know, it's just fun running around the world, collecting things, doing things. And again, the story's not too bad where I'm just like, it's good enough ride to just, you know, get me from point A to point B. Cause basically you're an alchemist and like alchemy's been outlawed because it destroyed this land. And so you're kind of like going through a little bit like Atomfall where you're getting a lot of readables and character dialogue and that sort of thing to kind of piece together like what happened before all of us were here. And so you're kind of, that's what the whole point is. You're part of a research team learning about these lands. So maybe it gets more, you know, gooner as you go on. But, you know, as someone who's very skeptical of the franchise and like dove in very selectively because Yumia seemed different and higher budget, I went in there and I was like, okay, you know what? This is like not the best game ever, but like it's really evolved from what the series started as. And I think it's got a lot more game to it than people might expect, you know?
Yeah, I'm seeing like crafting, like building a house and stuff like that.
Yeah, settlement modes here.
Yeah.
You can do base building, like they're two separate modes. Like it's pretty fucking crazy, dude. Like there's just a lot of game to it. You know, and I think the settlement stuff was like in a previous entry or something like that, but they like brought all of that forward, evolved it. And so, yeah, it's just like progression, the video game. Like if you just like moving things forward, not just skill trees, but like meters and percentages and all this stuff, like you're just always doing something that feels purposeful. So checking those boxes feels good because it's just like always, it's kind of the same feeling you get when you play like a sim game. It's like, oh, I wouldn't put this much effort into real life, but in a video game, well, I mean, I'm just going to go all the way. So yeah, it's got a lot of fun factor to it. That really keeps it engaging. The music is really pretty, just kind of chill game. And I defined it in my impressions videos sort of like a, hey, like you want to like turn off your brain while playing a game. Like if you're looking for that right now, there's just so much going on. You just like, I want to play something, but not like deeply engage on like a narrative level, just mechanically like playing it, then this is perfect for that. If you're looking for a Discord game, like, oh, I can play something while on call with my friends or whatever, this is a great game for that too. Or if you just, again, want like fun, you know, it's just a fun time. So I've been enjoying it quite a bit.
Cool. Yeah, there is a demo also that I think carries progress over. So if you're curious about it, you can check that out.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah.
What you said, Matty, about the game is being constant progression and also being kind of partially inspired by Oblivion. All that makes sense to me. Why so many Xenoblade Chronicles S creators are also now creating for Atelier for this game as well.
Interesting.
Both games, Xenoblade Chronicles X in particular, not the main trilogy. X in particular was one inspired by Skyrim, where Takahashi was saying, "Hey, all these Western developers are making these amazing open world experiences. Nobody in Japan, in terms of the RPG studios, is making this. Why don't we do that ourselves?" So that's what Xenoblade Chronicles X is. but also like I described that game in my review as just a bunch of knobs and tweaks that you're always like adjusting and pulling and pressing, because it's always all about progression too. So
yeah.
So it makes so much sense that so many people I know who love Xenoblade Chronicles X are also loving this game as well, and also creating content around it.
Yeah,
that feels like they're kind of serving the same fan base in terms of like the gameplay, right?
Yeah, because I forgot Xenoblade has that whole like town system. At least 3 did when I played it, where like as you do the side quests, you like complete that progression for the town itself, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if X has that, but that would.
X has the whole like planet that you have to like complete.
Oh, nice.
Basically.
The whole planet.
Whole planet.
Yeah, there's five continents, and like that each continent will have like a checklist of shit to do.
That's sick. Yeah. You really sold me on that. I bought it.
There's like hundreds of achievements that you can just check off too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and X in my library. So I'm kind of, I don't know when I'm going to strike, Gene, but it's sometime this year, dude.
I think X will be good for you. I think, especially since.
Do you think I start with X, or do I start with?
Yeah, I think you should start with X. Well, first of all, the story doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then I think I'm interested to see what you'll be keen on in gameplay, because it's just so much gameplay there. You know.
Yeah. I mean, the shit you were showing me, I was just like, bro, this looks awesome.
Yeah. I was showing off the mechs to you, and it's like, dude, you gotta get in on this, man.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm missing out.
Yeah.
All right. Osama bin Kirby wrote in, "Hello, the Three Musketeers. Sorry for the late write-in, but I saw Matty's playing Atelier. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Atelier. Yeah.
Okay, I keep wanting to say Atelier, but it's
No,
Atelier.
you're good.
Yumia, and wanted to ask him about the story. Coincidentally, I've been playing the remake of Atelier Marie and really appreciated that even though some of the characters have very sexual designs, they play it straight and don't really pay attention to that like other JRPGs or anime in general. Without spoiling anything, do they tell the story straight, or are there moments where the pace breaks for a stupid joke about the main/side character's looks? Anyways, I swear I'm not a furry. I just like Lenja's character kind of day.
I don't know who the hell that is. I'm guessing it's someone from Atelier Marie. Yeah, so far, none of that. I mean, the characters can look ridiculous at times, as the series is known for, but like I like Yumia's design a lot. Like I think she looks really fucking cool. Like that was one of the main things that pulled me in as well. Rise, like many people don't, I think they know this, but like I like a darker game, a darker character. Like I do have a type, and when it comes to storytelling, and like Yumia definitely takes itself more seriously. So at least in this game, these characters just look how they look, and if you don't care about that, then like you're good, because there's not like any real moment where they stop, in my experience, to be like, well, let's talk about your appearance, or oh my god, like the main character's blushing. Like there was actually an attempt at romance in this game at one point that, again, no spoilers, but it was done in a way that wasn't amazing, because again, I'm very critical of like game romance, but it was done in a way where it wasn't like going down the tropey rabbit hole of like, oh, looking at you made me blush, and like look at your clothes, and it was none of that. So so far, like it's been good in that department for me, and I'd say I'm a pretty good gauge of it, because I would argue I'm more sensitive to that than others. Like there's like I think characters should look cool and be like supernatural versions of ourselves. Like that's my design philosophy. But like I also really like what shows like Attack on Titan do, for example. Like they feel super while being very human. That is to me the ideal character design. I love what that show does with characters. Like you can mesh beauty and strength together in a lot of places. And so if you can detach yourself from that, like to me, I think characters in this series and many other JRPGs are just like cop-outs. Like they're just like cheap bait. They're not built with intent, in my opinion. Like Ryza, I think they designed one of their characters because of her ongoing recession. So they thought like characters with thicker thighs would like make people happier. Like that was literally their reasoning behind it.
It worked.
Yeah, I guess so. Here we are. The economy's booming.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you can disconnect from like the actual designs themselves, which I can, and just like appreciate the game itself, then like you'll be fine. There's no story breaks from what I experienced. If it happens now, like I'm 20 plus hours deep, where I'm like they're at least sparing with it at this point, where I wouldn't give a fuck if it happened. Yeah. So yeah, they do a good job with it.
Nice. I will say the bad part about hosting this show is people talk about games a lot. Then I'm like, shit, I want to play that, and that happens a lot.
Yeah, this is for an open world game, it feels pretty digestible. I would say just give the demo a shot if anyone's interested in what I said. You know, I will say this, it took me until like the 5-hour mark to really, I don't know how long the demo is, but that's when I really started to come around on it. I was like, oh, okay. Like, cause you know, the game just, each time you think it's done, it gives you a new mechanic. It's really well paced in that regard. So, like the first like hour or two of the game, I'm just like, okay, you know, meandering a little bit, but once it takes the gloves off, it really gets going. And, you know, it's a journey of mechanics. And by the time I was like 25 hours in, I was like, I unlocked all of this. This is crazy. So really well paced in that regard. So I don't know if the demo does a good job selling it, but might be worth a try to see if you like some of the core parts of the game, at least.
Nice. All right, Gene, you've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. 1, not 2, 1. Talk to us.
Yeah. I bought Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and the game starts off with Henry and Hans just carrying on a conversation like nothing happened. Like, this isn't my first time playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. And as I understand it, the game does do a good job catching up to speed.
Yeah.
So I probably didn't need to do any of this as well. But I want to experience the Kingdom Come Deliverance
full context.
Experience. Yeah, I want the full context. I want to really get to know Henry. I want to really get to know this game world and this game philosophy. And boy, I'm glad I did. I'm not far. I both of you have played this, right?
I haven't played the first one, but I did beat 2.
Okay. Oh, you beat 2. Okay. So I am only at the part where I just got to Rattay, where you start training. So I'm just starting to train on archery and sword fighting, having a lot of fun with that. So I'm pretty much past, I guess, the prologue area. But I guess I don't really have a ton of things to say, but I think this makes a great comparison point to Assassin's Creed Shadows, actually, to bring that game back. We can't stop fucking talking about that game. But what I played it right after AC Shadows, right? And Matty was talking about how Naoi's story is just a generic revenge plot. You know, it starts out as your typical RPG story of your town getting burned down, and then the rest of the game is going on there, right? And that happens in so many different games, you know, and so many different stories. Suikoden, hell, even Xenoblade Chronicles 1 does that, right? And so does Kingdom Come Deliverance, where your whole town, spoilers for the fucking first hour of Kingdom Come Deliverance, I guess.
1.
Yeah, 1. So this is an old game, 2018, but I am going to talk about, what happens in the first, like, I guess, prologue or whatever. So fair warning, I guess, if you really want to go in dry. But I think the difference is that you really, really get to know your town, and the game philosophy really, really makes you live in the skin of Henry. Because one of the first things you do in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is your dad is asking you to go around and run some errands, and these are some really, really shit task errands, which is, go bug your neighbor for some money for the money he owes you, and he won't give you his money. And he's kind of a drunk, and he's also older than you because you're just some 18-year-old kid who doesn't know how to read and doesn't know how to do jack shit. And he's a guy who's an adult and could kick your ass. So what do? You go find your buddies who has a lockpick and also want to throw shit at someone's house because some guy is talking shit about the Pope. So you go do that, and then you throw shit at this guy's house, and then the guards come, and then all your buddies are like, come on, let's get out of here. And then you run with your friends, and you're running around town with your friends in first person mode. And it really, really feels like I really felt immersed in it. I really felt like I just threw some shit at some dude's house, and like I got to get out of here before the guards catch me, you know? And then we gather up, and we're like, oh yeah, that was fun, right? There's this real sense of community and intimacy that you really get to know your town, versus Assassin's Creed Shadows, where the town burning just happens, you know?
Yeah.
Someone really important to you dies, but you got to spend no time with them. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, you have to have a couple conversations with your dad and your mom, and you just get to really get to know the town. You just really get to just a slow, deliberate pace of just you have to find the money, you have to get the lockpick. Even afterwards, where you have to, this guy at the mill asks you to go dig up a corpse to find someone's ring or whatever. Like it really goes step by step, where it's like, okay, before you have to do that, you have to go find a spade, to a shovel to go dig that up, and you have to go walk your ass all the way over past the forest and over this beautiful hill, to find a cemetery, to go slowly dig up the grave and find what you need to find. And it's just really that level of intimacy and immersion that you don't really get in so many games. Like I never even felt that with Red Dead 2. Honestly, I think the closest I've ever felt this way is when I first played like Morrowind or Oblivion. It's like my first Bethesda game over again, right?
Ooh.
In terms of interactivity, in terms of where the story could go, in terms of the presentation, in terms of how dangerous each of my decisions are. When the town's being raided, there's a woman about to be raped,
Right.
and she's a girl that and you could either just like fuck off and be like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of here though, sorry, or you can stop by and help her. You can whistle at the guards and tell them, hey fuckos, come over here, and then rescue her that way. I had the sword that my dad and I forged, so I just went behind and just stabbed one guy in the butt, and then just ran off and hopped on my horse and ran off there, and turns out that was a decision that paid off later on, totally getting the RPG vibes that was missing in Avowed, basically, right? And it's interesting that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I guess, comes at a time when Assassin's Creed Shadows and Avowed comes out, and both games are bigger budget, from bigger studios, from bigger publishers, and they just don't do as much. They're just not as interesting. Their game design is boring, very formulaic, versus Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is actually trying to do something different in terms of being a first-person RPG. The whole time I'm playing the game, I'm like, what if these guys made a Cyberpunk? What if What if Warhorse Studios, who I'm now considering one of the top talented RPG studios, immediately just by playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, in just like the first like 4 or 5 hours. I think I played about like 6 hours now, right? It'll be so interesting to see how they envision a futuristic RPG now. Like what kind of steps would you take to do to go there? What kind of drugs would you need to take? What would you need to fill your car up with gas or anything like that? Because you still got to eat and sleep and worry about your health. I got banged up in that fight, so I just have a whole bunch of scars on my face that are slowly healing up. They were bloody as hell, but I've taken some nights off to sleep, and then they're starting to close up, which looks incredible. But that still gets a reaction from the NPCs, where they're like, "Oh my god, you look like you've been assaulted. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Versus the very standard, "Oh my god, you got mushrooms on your face," in Avowed, where everybody will say the same thing, no matter what. It's really been a long time since an RPG. Since Baldur's Gate, I guess, but I wouldn't say this is the Baldur's Gate, the first person Baldur's Gate, but it's probably closer to it than Avowed certainly is.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm also getting to learn the sword fighting. I've been practicing a bunch with Captain Bernard, which is the captain that you get to train with once kind of like the prologue is over. I'm really starting to get the hang of it. Where when you have to block, you have to consider where that person's hands are.
Right.
Really, really fascinating stuff. Really, really engaging. Because initially when I started, I was like, oh yeah, you just press R trigger to hit, right? Like Avowed, like Avowed in Skyrim. You just gotta swing the sword, right? No, not the case at all. You really have to be intentional with which direction you're swinging in, whether you can block, whether you can dodge and weave that hit, or whether you can block it and parry it. You can unlock combos later on, which is really fascinating and interesting, and I'm really excited to figure out what that looks like. But just doing the sword fighting itself, it reminds me of like when I was a kid and I played Star Wars Arcade and the Jedi lightsaber. I really had to worry about the direction that Darth Vader is hitting me. And this is even more complicated and more evolving, and with higher stakes. So yeah, just even in the action itself, and the archery too. I actually beat Hans in the archery training at the beginning. I felt pretty proud about that. You're supposed to be
Nice.
a shitty archer, but Hans challenges you to a duel in archery, and I beat the shit out of him. Felt pretty proud. So I was like, I'm ready for. I think my Henry is ready to learn how to read. Now I'm really excited to learn how to read. That's the most exciting part. Get some alchemy going. Get some potions and everything. This is a hell of an RPG, and I can't wait to play more of it. And I don't know, like I'm interested to see what Matty thinks about my impressions as a Bethesda fan. Like it's gotta be. This has got to be next level, right? I'm jumping on board. I'm jumping late on this right now, but.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize it at the time. It required a lot of other things, I think, to fall in and out of place. But I really do think you got to look at Warhorse as kind of like the successor to BGS in a lot of ways. Just I think they're taking that interactivity, like every object in the world you can grab, touch, pick up, add to your inventory.
Mm-hmm.
But their focus on realism makes it where everything that you do counts. And then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I think, just carries it a mile further with its choice and consequence. It's just
I can't fucking wait to play that.
Its presentation, its story. I mean, the only thing I really don't care too much for, and this is fine, by the way, this is not a complaint, because it's the same thing for BGS games, is like the combat. I'm just like, it's all right. It's definitely more deep than anything BGS has really done. But yeah, dude, like I think they should be, for a lot of people who are into the style of games I am, they should be at like the top of the ladder in the terms of like, this is a company to watch, because they're not done. Like they, not just in like the games they're going to make, but they, I think, want to double their team size. There was Dan Vavra talked in a recent interview of like, he has a fascination with like Vikings and 9th century history. And like, so was it 9th century? I'm trying to remember. He put out a couple feelers where I was like, I could see them going further back, honestly, than they're where they're currently at. I could also see them going into the future. Like their DNA is clearly realism, where whatever time period they do, I'll be interested, because it's going to change just by the items and the things you have to consume. And like, Gene, I didn't even think of the cyberpunk idea till you said it. I was like, oh shit, that's like, putting fuel in your car, and like, what kind of cyberpunky drugs would you take to stay alive or stay, whatever it may be.
What kind of stupid, crazy, dude, the fucking lock picking and pickpocketing minigames are so crazy.
Yeah.
Like the way they explain it to you, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. It's not very good in the first one. The second one,
it's not good the way they explain it to you. They just flashbang you with like all these like icons and like words and shit like that. It's like, okay, hold on a second. I had to watch a 20-second YouTube video that just did it for me. Like all I just needed is a video. Just show me how to pickpocket, and I immediately knew how to pickpocket. It was
100%. Yeah,
lock picking too. I got that really quick, but the fucking game does not explain that shit to you at all. Like, well, it does, but it like over explains it to you in a way that just doesn't, like, just show me what it looks like. Just show me what I need to do.
I agree. Yeah. Warhorse, though, I think people should obviously continue to cheer for, because they're moving their own genre forward, but also just like, if you're a fan of BGS, like this is kind of what you wanted from them. Like,
this is where it is, man. This is where that magic went, basically. You're right.
Straight up. Like, I still love BGS games, but like, look, dude, I'm not going to act like Starfield delivered everything I wanted it to.
No.
Fallout 4 is really fun to play, but it doesn't have the reactivity. I think Skyrim was like really the top of the mountain, and that was 2011, bro. So it's like, Skyrim really wasn't narratively as reactive as like I'd say Oblivion can be, and that was 2006. Fallout 3 was kind of in between those two in 2008, and that was definitely the best of both worlds, I think. That's why it's like one of my favorite games of all time. But yeah, like when you think about that timeline, it's like Bethesda has made some very important games, and like KCD's kind of carrying the torch. Locke will always have the best description of it. Skyrim for masochists. That's what this series is. It really is. It's still got that level of freedom. Like, I can go anywhere, be anything, do whatever. But except the game takes it so seriously that like every choice has consequence. So just a very incredible game. And yeah, I don't think I appreciated the first one as much as I should have at the time, because I was also not at a time where I felt like, oh, BGS is under delivering fully. Because I think this is a 20. They were just about to underdeliver. They were just about to underdeliver 76 that year. So
wait, when did Fallout 4 come out? Like around that time?
Fallout 4 was 15. Fallout 4 was 15, but I love Fallout 4. So I wasn't like
76. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the same year as 76. I think 2017.
It was a 76 year. Yeah. 76 was the Fallout for sure. So yeah.
It was just around like that time where I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's just a one-off. Then you get Starfield. And I'm like, okay, I like Starfield a lot, but then you get KCD2 and you're like, that's where I come to that conclusion.
Yes,
got it.
Yes,
okay.
Like Matty, you and I both appreciate and like Starfield quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
But man, that magic of like, oh, I really feel like I'm actually making decisions and I'm really living in this world. Like that used to be with Bethesda, and it's just gone now. They just don't do that anymore. They're very casualized. They lean further into what made Skyrim and even Fallout 4 more so. Whereas Warhorse and KCD, like they went further the other direction, and that's an incredible choice when it comes to moving, as you said, moving the genre forward.
Absolutely,
yeah. It's like if FromSoft started to like sand down Dark Souls, and then Elden Ring was like just a bunch of objective markers or whatever like that. That's kind of like where Bethesda went, like we're lucky that FromSoft was like, no, here's Elden Ring, and it's as awesome, as hardcore as you imagine it to be, and it's even more free and more liberating. And it's like, here's KCD1, and as far as I can tell, KCD2 is even more of that, but more interesting and more at least easier to understand, but like still true to that philosophy.
Yeah, the only problem Warhorse has compared to BGS, in my opinion, is it's really tough to get the wheels spinning on a Warhorse game. Like you got to commit so much time just to get to that point of having fun. And it's the one thing I think goes a little bit under. It's like, it's the price, and Warhorse knows it better than anyone. It's the price they pay when they commit to that style. But because for me, like I didn't really turn the corner on KCD2 until like 20 hours in. I was like, okay, now I'm loving this. But that's a huge, like, Starfield, I was worried at 5 hours. I was not having a great time. And then I started to turn around. I was like, okay, I'm having fun now. Yeah. And Warhorse took 20 from me. And so that's why like Bethesda games, because I can get into them quickly, I would replay. Whereas KCD, because of that realism, it's like, dude, I will play KCD 2 all the way through. It'll be a while before I replay it, because it's in that Red Dead kind of company of like, there's so much has to build and grow that it's an amazing game. It's phenomenal. Just, it's not on that level of replayability for me yet. But I think part of that also comes from the attachment, and like you love that journey eventually. Like I love leaving Vault 101, but I'm sure there's people who feel how I feel right now about KCD, where they're like, bro, it's like a fucking hour of just like answering questions and the same shit happening. And for me, that's so special. So maybe I'll get that with KCD. I love replaying
Fallout 4, the beginning of Fallout 4 too. I love stepping out and going through the town and meeting what's his face again, the robot,
Codsworth,
Cogsworth or whatever, So I'm wondering, like would I? You're making me think, like, would I replay KCD1? Because I've actually restarted KCD1 twice now. Because I felt like I was kind of fucking up the decisions, and I didn't save Teresa, and I was like no, I want to save her. I want to stop her from getting raped. That's fucked up. So I started all over for that, and I had fun. And I think for me it's different because I'm not getting flashbang by this studio anymore, right? Like everyone's already talked about how slow the game is, so my expectations were pretty much exactly where the game should be. So it's like I'm slowly walking around Skalitz and just really, dude, the music is so good. What the fuck,
amazing.
Like the music really reminds you of like, oh man, I really feel like I'm in a fantasy RPG, even though everything's very realistic or whatever. But I really feel like I'm living this medieval time shit, Excellent vibes, excellent game, excellent studio. I'm sorry that I slept on KCD1 for so long, but KCD2, it's like Death Stranding 2 for you,
I was just gonna say, this sounds it's funny we're having this conversation the same episode, because it sounds like me with Death Stranding, where it's like, I'm sorry I slept on you. I underestimated you.
Yeah. It's not like I looked at KCD1 and I was like, oh, like that looks like a bad or boring game. I was just like, maybe it's too much of a time commitment, or maybe I'm just not ready for it. But everyone talking about KCD2, and it's like I've always been interested in KCD1, and there was just a Steam sale last week, so I bought KCD1 finally for only $8.
KCD1 is, I mean, it's so funny how my standards have moved dramatically to what's short, but you could beat that game in like 35, 40 hours. Like,
yo, that's hype.
Yeah. The first one is not nearly as long as the second one. Because the second one, they had all their tools built. So they just probably like within a couple of months were building content for that game, and just like, it's insane to think about. But yeah, the first one is still a big game, a lot of side content, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But I think I finished it in like 55 or something like that, you know? Like,
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's manageable. And
because the map already looks pretty big.
Yeah.
The map already looks pretty big.
So especially because you know what it is. You might get through it quicker. For me, that was playing it in like a review period where I was like figuring out what is
Kingdom Come Deliverance. It. Okay.
Yeah. That game is buggy as fuck. So you're playing the polished version too. So
yeah.
That's true. I am playing the best possible version where everything's solid. Is like even on my Steam Deck, it's running 60 FPS. You know,
that's awesome. I love that.
You know, I've run into no bugs, no crashes at all whatsoever.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that people. Because a lot of people are like, why did everyone sleep on Kingdom Come 1? I'm like, I think people forget it was like a Kickstarter game. Like it was
a
not very
game.
Polished. It was trying a lot of things that people were unsure about. It had a commitment to realism. And nowadays, gamers embrace, I think, more hardcore. But back then, I think we felt pretty well fed where we didn't need that. So yeah,
that was a year
kudos to them for sticking to their vision for the second go around, by the way. That probably wasn't easy to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had a lot of problems or conversations and pressure to kind of casualize the game even more. I mean, basically turn it into a Bethesda game, right?
Yeah. And it all goes back to knowing how much is enough. Like we learned before the launch of KCD2, they're like, yeah, they sold 8 million copies of this thing, the first one. And like, obviously most of those were on probably a deeper discount, but they could have been like, well, if we make it casual, like we can get those 8 million back quicker. But they stuck to their guns. They're like, no, like people will be into this, and again, that's not easy to do. So kudos to them.
Yeah, I mean, Monster Hunter casualized at least their low rank too. You know, I mean, Monster Hunter. When you think about it, Monster Hunter kind of did it in a pretty good way, honestly. You know, even though I don't like the way they did low rank, you know, at least the rest of the game is still what it is. You know, so. It's an interesting balance, but I'm with you in that I'm glad they didn't cave into pressure and just really stuck with what makes their projects unique, you know. And
the Dan Vavra experience, as I always say, this man's since Mafia 1 has been committing to like realism in games. So
he's a Mafia dev. Okay,
yeah, he was Mafia 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that explains even more.
This
then
guy had like speed limit.
It's like finding out Joseph Fares has been making co-op games for the whole time too. You know?
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So he's always had a style, and respect to him for never bucking on that.
Yep.
I've gained a lot more respect for Warhorse and Daniel Vavra after playing this game. I was like, this is a game. We keep talking about games with vision and games with like good decisions and games who know what they want to be.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
This is exactly what we're talking about. Assassin's Creed Shadows, you know, as good of a game as it is, it doesn't feel like a game with any kind of decisions or choice or vision or commitment to it. Whereas like this is a game that with a team that committed to a vision and saw it through, you know, and you can feel it when you play it. It feels like nothing else, you know?
Completely.
All right. Final game on the list, Matty, Bleach, Rebirth of Souls.
No write-ins for this one? LSM
no write-ins.
No write-ins for my anime games? Like,
no write-ins
bullshit.
for KCD either. Yeah.
Come on now. I was surprised. It's a brand new game. Matty, what's going on with Bleach? Nothing. That's fine. I'll talk anyway.
Well, I know a little bit about Bleach too, Matty, so I can hang with you for a bit.
I know nothing, to be clear.
Okay,
about Bleach.
I know more than you.
Yeah, you know more than me.
Okay. So, I don't know anything about Bleach either, so yeah.
I know it was like one of the 3 big shonen. Like you had Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball. Like you had like
One
these
Piece.
kind of One Piece. Like you had all
one
these
of the big 3 or whatever. Right?
Yeah, big 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be. But Bleach was there. And so I call myself the anime games connoisseur. Like I always got to see what's going on in the genre of games that kind of raise me. Like people always think I say I'm born and raised on BGS games. It really is anime games. Like I was always, because they just were like safe purchases as a kid. You know, you're like, oh, it's Naruto. Oh, it's Dragon Ball. Easy. done. And so like they made hundreds of these types of games on every handheld, every fucking system. So as the years have gone on, myself and many other anime game connoisseurs have started to feel a little bothered by the quality efforts of particularly Bandai, who has the whole fucking anime game franchise on lockdown.
Yeah.
Everything from JJK to My Hero to Dragon Ball to Bleach. You see that damn logo from Bandai. What I'm happy to say is that Bleach is a great step forward, which is hilarious because I liked what I was starting to see with Bleach, but I distinctly remember JJK Curse Clash and being like, this is the worst piece of shit I have ever played. Like, that game is awful. It's an insult to the fans of the franchise. It's an insult to fucking Bandai as well. Cause like so there's like things that anime games specifically should avoid. Let's get into that for a sec. Anime games should never reuse screenshots from the anime itself. You immediately look lazy. You cannot do that. And actually, there was another anime game, Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections, which was bringing highlight reels of all the Ultimate Ninja games into one collection. It did this too. And they blacked out the blood. They censored the blood. So, yeah, exactly. It's stupid, right? So they like, these are back-to-backs where I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? JJK Curse Clash, though, is like an exceptionally horrible game. It's from the developers of My Hero, One's Justice, which first one's all right, but number one, you got to avoid the anime game screenshots. JJK failed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put effort into the story mode cutscenes. JJK, if you watch gameplay, like I'll literally even have it on like my review of it on Retro Rebound, you'll see like the text box is in the middle of the screen, and it's a fighting game. It's a fighting game where you can't see what the fuck is going on when characters are talking. So you got to put care into the story production because this will happen, right? And the list goes on, as I'll get into with some of the pros with Bleach. But those are like two cardinal sins that a lot of anime games do. The third one is stop trying to be Ultimate Ninja Storm. Ultimate Ninja Storm is an amazing franchise, but it fucking ruined everything because it was so good. You know?
Matty, I looked at this game real quick and I saw it and I was like, God damn it, another 3D anime arena fighter.
I agree. I'll get into why it's different this time around, and I'm not just coping. It is like more, it's really well thought out, but I'm with you. The 3D anime fighting curse needs to end. These characters can do more than just fucking beat each other up. I think One Piece Odyssey is a great example. Nice turn-based RPG. Love that. So let's get into it. So Bleach, number one, has like as someone who knows nothing about Bleach, the presentation quality is amazing. Like right away, the title screen, the music, the character select screen. If anyone just is curious and wants to be sold on that, just look up the character select menu and just listen to the music and like the character poses and the way they're laid out. It's a vibe. The story has like amazing cutscenes in it. Not Ultimate Ninja Storm level, but like amazing cutscenes. And that's good to say because it's a meaty story. Like I played like 6 hours straight and I got to like 10% completion of the full story. It's very Budokai Tenkaichi 2-esque where it's like fight by fight, scene by scene. For the most part, they'll skip certain parts. Like there was a training arc with like Orihime and Sato, and they just skip over that, but it's told in a really good cutscene that does like unique illustrations and it's well thought out. And you can tell it's not like we're just skipping this and here's a text recap. Something JJK also does. So part of the happiness with this game is our standards are so low. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's actually not awful. But you could tell they tried with the story mode. The lip syncing's not great. Character models and like the visual quality, like it's 1080p, I think, which is really weird. Yeah, really weird. So again, not perfect, but definitely step in the right direction in terms of presentation. Cause like the cutscenes have effort. The fighting has effort. And that was like the big surprise was, I was like, okay, the surface level test is here. Let's fight. Basically, instead of beating down your enemies and emptying their health bars, you each have like a number. And again, I'm not going to go off the terminology of the game because it's like reishi and Keycon moves and all this stuff that I'm new to Bleach. So it's not just like off the tongue for me. So I'll just say there's a number next to your health bar, like 9 or like a 10 or something like that. And as you go and beat enemies up, that health bar will lower. and then it'll get to a point where it'll start blinking red. Then you have to set up what's called a keycon move, and that is, you have to start comboing your opponent or something like that. Like you have to catch them off guard, and when you land that, you knock away a couple bars of their health, and that number lowers and their health bar resets. So maybe you set them up where it's like you only got 3 of their bars down. And depending on what type of character you're playing as, like there's quick characters, there's strong characters. Like strong characters are obviously really slow, but when they hit you with the keycon move, you're going to lose probably like an extra bar of health compared to like a quick character who might be able to whittle you down faster, but maybe they take away only like 2 bars of health from you. And as the game of chess goes like back and forth, those bars count more and more, not just because it's like your health bar, but like when you're both like on the ropes, if you're playing as like a quick character, you might have been able to whittle them down a little bit faster, but you might have 4 or 5 bars of health, and that strong character might be able to knock your ass out of the fight completely because of like how the keycon system is set up. So it's just like really fun in that you're constantly trying to balance this combo system with wiping out multiple health bars, and it gives like chances for like intense fights, great comebacks, the things that make a good fighting game. So there's that. The combo system, simple: light attack, heavier attack / ranged attack, which is slower. You can kind of mix these together a little bit. You can dash around your opponent. There's good sidestep options. It kind of works on a triangle system. Like if you start with a quick attack, if someone hits you with a breaker, they can stop your combo right away. If you're guarding, you can block all of these light and heavy attacks. But if someone hits you with a breaker, they break your guard, you're open. There's no like grab spams or anything. So there's signature moves that you can do from the show. Just really good. Like, I'm just like, okay, like this is not like perfect by any means, but yeah, hey, like I can get behind this. If this is the new floor for anime games, for 3D anime fighters, specifically not like of the Naruto DBZ breed that usually get the bigger investment because Bandai knows it's safer to throw money into that. I think many anime fans will be very happy with this because, again, I know nothing about Bleach, and even I'm like, oh, damn.
Okay.
That's cool.
So I'm happy with it. You know,
Good.
Not perfect, not going to be like my top 10 game of the year list or anything, but like as an anime game fan who still loves coming around to these things, like this does a really good job. You're not just fighting characters on the rosters, like you're beating up monsters from the show and characters that aren't even available in the roster yet to like continue the story and make it more meaningful and purposeful. So they have like I said, a really good template here where I'm like, take this developer and give them another anime IP because they worked with care in this one. And again, like there's a lot to the story. They have this thing called real moments where if you like do specific things from the show in the fight, you'll unlock like a secret cutscene. I think Ultimate Ninja Storm does this as well. But yeah, just like I said, real complete package here. They have a missions mode. They have a secret story mode. So as you complete the main story, there's a whole other story mode that you can unlock.
Oh,
the missions mode is like this game's version of the arcade. You'll get these points you can spend on upgrades like skills and talismans. Again, very Budokai Tenkaichi coded where you can equip them on your character and like do more damage at certain points in the fight or whatever. Like very simple passives. Again, I'm just like, this is a complete package, dude. Like this is exactly how I remembered anime games growing up. Like this is fun. This feels respectful of the fan base. And it's like opening the door for me to get into Bleach, which like I always tell people, because many folks know me as like a huge Dragon Ball fan, but it's like I got into Dragon Ball through the games, not the show. I played the games and I was like, this is awesome. Like this guy looked cool. And like, I love these fights. And you find out a show exists as a kid. You're like, oh my God, I got to go check that out too. And I think it's still an effective way for people to get into anime.
yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, Bleach Rebirth of Souls. Good time.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's end the show with some questions from the audience. If you guys want
I
to
also want to say that I'm a huge fan of anime games, so this is interesting to me. I like to check it on them every once in a while. I know they're very formulaic and everything, but you know, it's fun. I'm a Dynasty Warriors fan. Hell, I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. You know, so
yeah, we like a little repetition. In our
but
lives
hearing that a
places.
game does something interesting is fascinating, and it might get me into Bleach. Who knows? You know, could be a good gateway drug. Video games can be good gateway drugs for IP too.
Yep,
you know,
100%.
you don't have to be the supplementary thing. You know.
Yep. But yeah, if you want to write into this show or any of our other shows, go to our Patreon. I post a thread for this show every Saturday calling for your submissions, so keep an eye out there if you want to write in. Okay, this is from Ricardo Chavez. Greetings, summoners. It's often said that Christopher Nolan's Memento is a story that can only be properly be told through the medium of film?
Hmm.
Are there any games whose stories could only be told through a video game? The first one that comes to mind for me is the original BioShock. Curious to hear your thoughts. I'll hang up and listen.
Any
Yeah,
RPG.
BioShock's a good one.
Any RPG.
Any RPG?
Yeah, I know it's like a cheap answer, but like the ability to pick what you say. Like to me, that's just like films don't let you do that.
Sure. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's like what makes that whole genre tick. It's like you'll never get that in films.
Yeah. I guess they could make like, hey, Baldur's Gate movie. Here's Baldur's Gate 3 done as a movie.
Awful. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen though.
Please
Easily
don't.
happen. It might. They
Dungeons
made a
and Dragons
D&D
Honor
movie
Among
before.
Thieves.
Actually,
Great
it bombed.
movie.
So,
Great movie, Dungeons and Dragons. So
Yeah, I thought that recent one. Yeah, you're talking about the one that came out a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
Apparently
Yeah,
that wasn't
Chris
too bad.
No,
yeah, I love that
that wasn't
movie.
too bad. Yeah.
I watched that movie on election day when Trump won. that was what I spent my time doing instead of paying attention to the election. So
I know they've
would
been.
say my answer is near Automata. So
Oh, sure. Well, what do you think about the anime?
You can't really tell. You know, you have to play it through 9S's gameplay or whatever. You know, you have to play it. You have to play it through. I didn't finish the anime, but does the anime let you to play through a text adventure? You know,
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
like I think it matters that you're playing through different game genres, and the way the music shifts every time the certain perspective shift and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think about the tower climb at the very end of the game. You know, no spoilers, but you know there's a climb towards the end of the game that could not be replicated in any other way. You have to play it. You have to
So
play
good.
it to feel the emotions. You to feel what the game is doing. You know.
Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Mouthwashing is another game I think, because it matters like where you're controlling the camera, and how you control like it kind of goes back to what Manny said. It's about how the audience is able to control the pace of a story, you know, and how it's interactivity, you know. I think BioShock is probably not as interactive, you know, because your choices don't really matter in that game, you know.
Yeah, I wonder. I think you could. Could you do BioShock in a movie? There could be a case for it, but this is all audio based, right? So a lot of your story is just like through picking up things, which is very gamey. But I wonder, Ken Levine had an option to remake it. What he would do? Would he change anything at all? That'd be a good question for him. What would his answer?
I guess we'll see kind of what he thinks now with Judas, the evolution of that.
True. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll be interested to see if he's finally able to complete his vision. You know, because BioShock Infinite was compromised too. You know.
Yeah. Sure. For me, I know they were trying to do this, but Child of the Colossus. I was like, oh, guys, I don't know how you're gonna really do a movie of that.
That's a good one.
It good. There's like barely any dialogue in that whole thing. It's in a completely different language.
It's about the actions that you take as the player, you know.
Yeah, the whole thing is
consequences
about
of that, right?
You're in some desolate world, and you're just running to Colossi sometimes for a long time, just trying to find them. The Colossi are cool. Just kind of, I don't know, guys.
It's also just seeing them from the distance and just like thinking how the fuck you're gonna do that, you know?
Yeah, getting that field, that scope. Yeah, but I don't know. They've been trying to make a movie for a long time for that, so I guess we'll see. All right.
That's a good question. It's one I think about all the time, right? But I don't know.
I just think it's always the answer will always be that pretty much any game embracing being like spoilers, a game can't be a movie. Yeah. But if you're like a side story, that's where I think games and movies or games and anime or TV really coincide well. Because most game stories are designed with like your gameplay experience is going to be the conduit between these plot points. And most times those gaps are filled in by you in your stories. But if you're like trying to direct an experience like Dragon Age Origins or something like that, it's like, immediately you've just been derailed completely or put on rails, I guess. So yeah, that agency is just everything.
There's something about games and the way games can compartmentalize mood and vibes. Because you think about the Yakuza show, and I assume neither of you guys have seen it.
No,
and I don't recommend.
I don't recommend
you watch it. It is I think the worst video game adaptation ever made.
It's not good. Yeah, it's not good.
I've never seen anything worse than this. And especially
did you watch
the
it in
fights.
English? Did you try it in English?
Huh?
Did you try the show in English?
I did try because the Japanese acting was also bad too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
It was such an awkward feeling switching to that and being like, oh, this isn't much better. Okay.
yeah, I was like, oh, it's all bad, and the Japanese dub like sounded bad too. Like the audio quality sounded bad too. I don't know what the fuck happened there, but like when you watch the fights, it's like, man, these fights do not capture at all the violence and like energy of like being in a video game. You know, like unless you make it like a Scott Pilgrim, like, you know. Where you really establish that this is a tone, and they're like fights live in a different dimension of reality than, you know, talking, you know, just regular talking to people. That these people can, you know, make repeated concussion like attacks in someone's head and then be fine and be talking the next scene. You know,
Yeah.
you know, you really need to leave a certain level of fantasy. I think Western media is not very well equipped to tell video game stories because they're always way too concerned about realism, you know, and making things grounded as opposed to like you look at a Bollywood movie and they don't give a shit about realism at all, you know. The fantasy is just the sky's the limit when in terms of what kind of action that you can demonstrate and what kind of tone it'll do. And obviously a lot of Japanese anime movies and Ultraman movies and stuff like that, all that stuff is just way out of bounds in the way that Hollywood will never do, you know.
Right. All right, this is from Anton K. Hey Bradley, when will Dagan be on the show? We never get to submit comments or questions to him, and I wanted to recommend #blood to him when the opportunity arises. Thanks, to keep it up. I had Dagan on the show one time, and he's very hard to get a hold of. He's very busy because he does other work outside of LSM. So usually when we shoot this show, it's kind of like in the middle of the day for most of the guys on the East Coast. So it's hard to get Dagan for that. But I could try to get him again, but
it's tough. I had to jump out of this show for a second, you know? So yeah.
So I mean, I could try to get Dagan on again. Don't count on it, but I'll ask him again or try to reach out to Colin about it. But yeah, getting him to be available, it's hard for him because he's very busy already as it is. So
yeah,
we'll try to get him in the future though, because we love Dagan. He's great. All right, boys, we're just gonna end this with a goofy question. Pair of Shoes wrote in, hello, Brad Pitt, Gene Hackman, and Matt Damon. Each of you gets thrown into a Saw-like scenario. You must make a choice between these three. To stay alive, you have to either 1. Fight a bull walrus injected with meth. 2. Swim 20 50-meter laps through vanilla pudding. Or 3. Sit in a room with no windows for 30 days with the TV playing over and over the movie Shrek 3 with only 4 hours of sleep each night. What fate becomes you? Thanks for all the great content and have a fulfilling week.
The last one sounds horrible. I'll take the other two.
I think I'm gonna swim.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Because I think I'm drowning by like lap 1, but maybe I could eat my way a little bit out. You think?
But like, you can take a break probably when you're swimming, right? Like, let's say you could swim, you can do 1 lap, and hang out on the edge for a little bit, catch your breath.
Do you think Saw's letting me take a break?
I just Googled, can I float in vanilla pudding?
Can you?
Can you just like wait it out, right? Can you just like back float and just hang out and swim through it? Yeah. You know?
Well, like, okay, if we fight a bull walrus, it's like, do we have a weapon or anything?
What does a bull walrus even look like?
I'm dumb.
Oh, bull walrus, not even a bull.
On meth, yeah. Like, how big is these fuckers? These guys are probably pretty big.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I got much of a chance on this thing. They're kind of cute too.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight it, right? Yeah. They're adorable. I'd be like, why, dude? Don't put it with meth. Come on, man. Just leave it alone.
I try to recruit
I'll take the laps,
dude. They are up to 12 feet long and may weigh up to 2 tons.
Yo,
and if it's on meth,
I wouldn't even want to fight it in general. So not even on meth.
Big old bitch. Yeah, on meth. Yeah, maybe it just like OD though on the meth.
Yeah, it could. You know. But also looks like it took a lot of meth too. So
yeah, probably could take a lot of meth.
I like how we're not even entertaining 3 at all. Like that's just like off the table.
Yeah. I was gonna say I like claustrophobia and just had
no windows,
insanity. Like, you know, because the first few days you're like, okay, I can go through that, but like just sitting in there watching the same movie with only 4 hours of sleep, by the way, is
that's bad.
Yeah, bro.
I'm taking the pudding, man. I'm trying to swim.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
You sick freak.
But if it's consistent swimming, I might just take my chances with the bull walrus.
I might take my chances with the bull walrus. Right. At least I feel like I might be able to run around it. And tire it out.
Let it OD, have a heart attack or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Just kind of just draw aggro the whole time.
Yeah. Maybe get on top of a fridge or something.
Yeah. Just kite the bull walrus.
Yeah, kite him around. He in the room.
Just kite him around for a little bit.
Hit him for chip damage.
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
I kicked it a face, run away for a little bit. Kicked it a face, run away.
Exactly.
Whittle the hell.
Who's to say who's the winner at that fight? At that point, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know.
Didn't say you had to win.
Exactly.
So just fight it.
Yeah, I could just fight and just hit it like 5 times and it's like a fight's over. It won.
Yeah.
It won. The bull walrus.
Wait, I surrender.
Yeah, I surrender. I give up. That's Jigsaw. You know.
Yeah. Take that, Jigsaw.
With your shitty ass loophole. You know.
Yeah. All right, boys. That's it. Another episode in the books. Thank you guys for joining me. Greatly appreciate it.
Of course.
Gene, goodbye. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. I know you're busy today, so thanks for making time.
Thank you. Thanks for apologies for both of you.
It's all good.
Schedule all messing up and everything. That blame. We'll just blame Neil Druckmann.
Thanks, Neil.
Yeah,
add to the list of things to blame him for. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks.
Exactly.
Neil.
As if we're not mad at you about so many other things already. You know.
Yeah.
Woke game maker.
Yes.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah, me too. And Matty, thank you, dude, for joining us. Appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Thank you for being flexible.
Always.
Yeah. Also, thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everybody. Goodbye. Summon Sign is a product of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and hosted by me, Brad Ellis. The show is produced by Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Summon Sign, along with the rest of Last Stand's media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we are grateful for your kind contribution and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.